Hey everybody, it's me, EJ. Got Jeremiah and Ian joining us tonight. Um, I guess let's get right into it. I think that Jeremiah, you had brought up a really cool piece as like some inspiration for something for us to look at. So can you talk a little bit about what that is, and I'll sort of scroll through it as you do so.
Sure. So it's this observable notebook. It's just this technique actually called a dot density map, which you made the point is kind of like a unit chart with the geographic component, which I think is kind of a clever way of thinking about it. But these are like Aaron Williams from the Washington Post made this really compelling notebook that showed this technique for doing racial demographic data. And so I think these are cool maps, and I like them because they generally show a lot more nuance than maps generally show, like on a sociological level. Like if you think back to when we were making election maps, like those are just straight up red blue maps.
Right. At the highest level of abstraction.
Maybe you have like the concept of deep red, whatever the hell that means. Yeah, you have like a very limited way of understanding. And I always found that kind of frustrating because if you take a state like California, which is decidedly a Democratic run state, right? Like up and down the state, but like 40% of people here voted voted for Republican governor in the last cycle. And that's like not nothing. 4 and 10, these are kind of like all of our, I don't know. Anyway, so I think these maps are cool because they can show us the kind of,
well, it's like just higher resolution.
Concentration.
But the thing I didn't understand is like, is this, when you show a dot for every voter, does that mean that like you need data at that granularity, or like what am I looking at, or like what data source powers this kind of thing?
Yeah, well, and I think that's a big caveat with these maps that I'm pretty sure Aaron puts in this notebook a bunch of times, which is like, this dot does not mean, so in this case, like, whatever a red dot symbolizes, it does not mean that like in that exact point in space, there is what a red dot symbolizes. It's like, so it's more like a unit chart, like you were saying. So I think that, the information that you could use to do this depends on your geographic granularity. So let's pick counties,
right?
Like a lot of election days in counties, and maybe like at a zoomed in county level, this is going to be a stupid map. But like, let's say like we want to look at a whole state and counties within that state. Then we would say, okay, we know there's 80,000 votes that were cast in this election. We know that 46,000 went to, or 46% went to a given candidate. And so then we would just put that, let's say one vote, one dot, we would put 46% of 80,000 votes.
Interesting. So it's basically anytime you have a geographic unit with like any ratio within that unit, are you like does it like randomly disperse it within it basically?
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's why a unit chart I think is a really clever way of thinking about it. Because like when you think about making a unit chart could also be a really big number, right? Like those are two ways of generally showing the same kind of thing. 60% of, I don't know, whatever, people who like Skittles also like Starburst. Like you would like put that some way at 60%, or you would put 6 and 10 dots, or 60 out of 100 dots. So it's really similar to what you're talking about. But he does this test, which I think would be cool to walk through and understand better, of place stop. And then that's like the algorithm.
Yeah, so I'm just scrolling through. So like he talks about like preparing the data and fetch pipeline, and he's working with census block groups, Jesus, that I guess are like not like around the size of zip codes or even less.
I think there's no real relation, but maybe a little bit less in general.
Well, just I'm trying to think of like a scale of like low resolution to high resolution, right? Like you can go state, you can go metro area, you can go county, then you can go.
Yeah, block group is tiny.
Yeah,
right?
like it's like zip code and block group, right? Or census block.
Well, even then, you think about it, I think there's like 95,000 zip codes, right? I'm just pulling that number out of somewhere in my brain. So this is maybe two times that. In terms of resolution, because there's 200,000 in the country.
Interesting. So one question go ahead.
Sorry, EJ, it says each block has between 600 to 3,000 people. So like the biggest one can get is 3,000 people, I guess.
And that's like pretty good. Like that seems like the right type of data set to work with this type of visualization. Like I'm curious what data sets you can get by block group. I guess you could get all the census tables you would expect, right?
Yep. I mean, depending on which census. But yep, you could definitely do census data. I wonder how well this will work for like something like larger like counties. That's why I think it's kind of interesting, like because it's kind of the election standard measurement.
Totally.
There's precinct level, but that's like as you know, like really hard data to get normalized.
Yeah.
Although doesn't the MIT data set you like normalize that to like a precinct level?
I don't know. So at some point, somebody does math of like where geographic units overlap and how to divide it based on that. But that's seems real complicated. So I guess my question, like, do you think I would be curious to try and take this same method, right, and apply it to a county level visualization. And so the reason that appeals to me is like we've already spent the last few streams basically doing county visualizations. Actually, Ian, do you have the notebook that we did last night that you can pull up and we can sort of talk about what we did there? And I'll switch to your screen.
Yeah. So this was what we, I guess, more or less ended up with, right? It is still loading for some reason.
We have a lot of stuff
go.
going on.
So yeah, it runs a force layout on generating this circles. And so the idea is that we took the county map that we already had. That was like a simpler Corpleth. Took this idea from Kareem's notebook, right? And use a force layout to position the circles, size them relative to the data for that day, and then use our previous streams observable pre-render technique to generate like a frame per day, right? Which you then animated. So yeah, I mean, I think this is the second or third time that we've like iterated on counties, right. And there's so many data sets that are sort of indexed by county. And I think Jeremiah, right? Like you're excited about that too. And yeah, so I think it'd be great to try to maybe fork one of this one or a similar. Yeah, we could probably just start with this one, right?
Yeah.
And then look, I also pulled up Aaron's excellent notebook, and I think that there's basically, since we're already drawing a map, we may want, one thing we will want to do is draw a canvas version.
Yes.
Right, in the process.
Yep.
It looks like, because when you draw all those dots for the dot density, it definitely
you don't want to have those be circles. The browser will freak out like 2 seconds into that.
Yeah. But canvas should work fine. And so, that could be a good starting point for us because it's relatively straightforward. Technically, it's something that people often will run into because a lot of examples are in SVG, which, it gives you some nice interactivity and stuff, of course. But yeah.
So,
but then
I guess the question is, does this CMU data, is that applicable to this type of visualization, right? So we basically have a percentage per county of like, it's not even a percentage, right? It's like per 100,000 cases or per, deaths per 100,000. So I guess, do you draw 100,000 dots and then one of them, you know what I mean? Like, how do we apply that same method? Because it's not like population necessarily, right? Where you're like, know the total count and then can divide it into things that you know. This is where I'm bad at math also.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you would mix the COVID data or COVID case data with this. I mean, you can, it's like, again, to think of it like a unit chart, you can show literally anything as long as it's like a simple number.
Right.
So you could show number of cases. Like, I mean, we could try it.
Oh,
off the
that's
cuff that feels
interesting.
irresponsible, but like
I
we could
agree.
try
It
it.
doesn't feel like totally data viz practitioner. It seems like a worthwhile experiment. I think the thing that's closest is what you just said, which is we know the raw number of cases per county. So if you just make a dot per case per county, that's interesting. Maybe.
Yeah, and again, I think the tricky balance with any map like this is like getting that fine line where it feels like you get a sense of the representation and the distribution without reading too
Right.
much into the distribution. So like, because Aaron's example at the census block level, like that's really fine grained, way more fine grained than
I
we're
also
doing there.
think the one thing
So if you just put a dot in a corner of a county, like
we've been doing these time lapses where we capture the status of it each day. And this to me, if we're doing cases, it might be interesting to do it cumulative, right? So that if there's a dot per case in the United States, you just watch it grow from, April to today, right? Like you watch the infection spread.
yeah, it's really too bad we don't have better data on like how long it lasts because you don't just want those dots to like linger.
Right.
Because right, because like that a case existed in March. Does that have that much of an effect?
Well, no, I think
Now?
you just say it, right. Like that's what your visual, like it's everybody who's been touched directly by this disease in America, right? So you're sort of seeing that spread, and I think I mean, even in the counties with not a lot of people, you'll see it like because we've seen it in our other visualizations, right? Just balloon.
Yeah, I think so. If you're talking about, it does seem like showing a rate during or every day. So it's like if it's new cases daily, and it's the same issue with the color. Like you need to scale it to something, right? So you're saying um, how many dots you want it to eventually render. Like if the highest number, right,
Right.
is 500 cases that day,
Well, potentially there
then
is no
the
limit.
most.
So if we're doing a time lapse and it's pre-rendering, it could take 10 seconds to render it, and I don't care. I'll just run it overnight, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just saying that that is just to me what feels like the way you would map. Like if you were just gonna say, let's turn this map into a dot density map, show the same data, try to communicate a similar thing. Um, it's still at this zoom level, it still feels like you could get that sort of nuanced sense of the distribution with exactly what you said earlier, Jeremiah. Like you can still get a sense of distribution even if you're not like chopping it up as neatly to look exactly right. Because especially with this time lapse, it that nuanced pattern might like I don't know come out more. I don't know things we're trying.
Totally.
And the other thing I want to point out is that even the color scale at the bottom is kind of a way of thinking of the the less granular thing, right? Like this is how you normally do a heat map. Is like you color by these buckets, and we're saying we're gonna show more fuzziness between these buckets by drawing all these little dots.
Yeah, exactly. You're like dequantizing it, right? Like it really is. I think the unit chart is really helpful. Like the concept of like, here's a dot for every vote, or here's a dot for every person. I think here's a dot for every COVID case lines up in the same way for my brain.
I was thinking, do either of you guys have a like an example of a unit chart you really like that we could pull up real quick? Because we've referenced it a bunch of times, and I think I see what
So
you're saying.
one of my
but
favorite, I'm sure I've shown Jeremiah this. Stephen Fry wrote a really excellent article called "Unit
Takedown of
Charts Are for
EJ.
Kids." Not Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry's a cool person. I'll just search "Unit Charts Are for Kids." Yeah, Stephen Few, right? And so he talks about this work this designer did, this fucking idiot who couldn't do his math on this unit chart. But basically the idea of like, okay, I'm trying to show a statistic that's like out of 100 rather than doing a pie chart, which we all know is evil. Like, why not use data viz for data viz's sake? And like, I think that humans can like, I don't know. I think we have this ability to sort of see groups of things in a way that makes sense. So basically, you do a dot for every person. So if 29% are light drinkers, then you do 29 dots. If and then you extrapolate this idea more. You can do it. There's a famous New York Times piece where they did every death in the Iraq War or the Afghanistan War, right, and visualized them by color and by whether they were infantry or civilian or whatever. So the idea of showing a dot for every person, I think, is just like an extrapolation of this, right? So instead of out of 100, you have out of a county, and instead of 100 dots, you can have as many as there are people. But I think it's still the same concept. I'll drop this in the chat.
What's tripping me out about that is that, with new cases, you imagine in some of these counties, randomly placing 500 new cases will fill up that area on the screen, right?
For
so
sure.
It's almost, in some places, if there's thousands, right? But you could even think of maybe the horizon chart strategy, right? Where it's if they start building up past certain thresholds, the color changes. But I still think there's an effect to that really works, right? Because you're showing it's still a relative quantity. I think it's time to try it.
Let's
try it.
What's the MVP?
Yeah.
I guess before, what's the quickest way you think we can get some dots showing up in a way that proves that we can do more?
Well, I think number one is going to be the canvas, right?
Let's
just draw what's on the screen on canvas, and then but that'll be easy to verify that it works. And then thing is we could borrow from. It looks like this is an algorithm that it basically uses the bounding box to draw random points for so let's take a county, we get its bounding box, fill it with points, and then because you determine how many points you want, right? That's what you're telling it to visualize. And it gives you back, I think, a list of them. So I think we could take this and move pretty quickly to get points. And maybe we could just start for every county, we're just going to draw 100 points, something that's not an insane amount. Power. It's not not anything. It's just to see that the points are drawing on the screen and that we are getting something that we think we're getting.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Alrighty. Now we'll fork this.
So is this one you're forking? That's a canvas county map.
It is it's a SVG county map. Okay. So I think the first thing to do is make it a canvas. And so I will publish this and put it in the chat for people to follow along. All right, so the rendering of this map is all in here. There's a lot of force layout stuff, but
should we just rip all that force layout shit out? Force layouts are not involved in this.
Right. So we could just let them be the centroids, for example, and just not use force to simplify what we're doing here. The only argument for just replacing the rendering would be that it would be the same example in both cases.
Oh, so you can talk how cool you are at doing canvas.
No, if someone
I feel you. Yeah, if you're doing it, you're all right, here's the canvas version of this thing.
Yeah. But for the sake of where we're at now, I think you're right, is that we should just, because we can just axe all this. There's a projection there. We're going to want that. We're still going to want a path. And then there's going to be all this other stuff we don't want, but some of Aaron's stuff here. So with D3, you can actually give it a canvas context, and then it will use that. It'll just draw it to the canvas for you, so you don't have to do any of the work.
Sick.
So it's projecting, although I'm not sure what this part is doing. He's passing this projected JSON, I guess, to the path.
Yeah. Right. So that's like the outline, I think. Oh yeah, obviously the function's called draw border, so.
Yeah, and he's got a draw density function that we can probably reuse. So really, what's involved is, instead of making a D3 element, or an SVG element, we want a context. And I think we can do context 2D, and we'll just pass the same things, the height and width. And I'm just going to return from this, keep it. You return the canvas element, which is attached to it. And so the CTX, the context, we'll use to draw everything, right? So I'm going to fill a rectangle that's 100 by 100 pixels. Okay, didn't like that. I should just comment all this stuff out. Like we'll be.
Yeah, so are you just going to slowly convert all our SVG commands to canvas commands?
That's pretty much the plan, yeah.
All right, man. Fucking hardcore.
I think it won't take long because...
I trust you.
Yeah. It's basically a lot less that you have to tell it. So we're drawing we're drawing to a canvas. Now we got a square. And the first thing we want to do is... I don't think we have to worry about any of these things. We can optionally draw the background color. So, like you wanted it green, like you have your.
Doesn't it have to be like a weird hex
effect
format though in context? Or no, that's 3JS.
I think that's 3JS, yeah, because you can say fill style equals, and then you can just say white, or So this is just going to paint a white rectangle the whole size of the screen.
Perfect.
And then we basically get to the county outlines, right? So we're going to shapes with data is our GeoJSON. Yeah. And we are going to, we'll figure out the color of the metrics and all of that. But really, we just need to pass it to the path function, which is this, which we're going to pass it CTX. Sorry, so I'm going to move this after here. And I think we can just say pad the shapes with data. And I didn't draw anything.
And it draws it because it has the context and the constructor.
That would be the hope.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe I do need to set a stroke style. Flag. And I don't know if you have to begin path. Still not seeing anything. Not getting an error. So we'll have to see. And then shapes with data. That is GeoJSON. So I wonder if I'm perhaps misremembering something from the. Also, I don't think this is. Why doesn't it have the projection in it? Shouldn't it? No.
The example from the API looks like you have it right.
And do you have to tell it to begin path and stuff?
Yeah, you begin path and then you in which order are you?
Or maybe not begin path, but there is this, like he did it here.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
did not help. I don't think this returns something, right?
No. I'm looking at a block from Bostock, and it definitely doesn't return something.
But yeah, this should. So I don't think I have to say that again, right?
Yeah, but you saw the way in the example where he like passes the context, the projection, something crazy like that. He does. Yeah, he does geopath.context, and then he like puts the projection inside it.
Topo JSON meshes. Yeah, but let me see. So when we drew the county outlines here, it's passing the data. I'm not sure if this returns anything anymore because no. And if
And we
I
know
don't,
the context is good because we drew that rect on it, I guess. So we know it's like rendered to the DOM.
Right.
But
the paths
wait.
aren't working.
Is it? I think I have to actually. It's not a whole collection. I have to loop through it.
because it's just an array, it's not like a feature collection.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
What have you done, sir?
Well, I just basically ran path on one of them.
Okay.
So, I mean, it looks like one state. Yeah.
Oops. There we go. Yeah. So that's like. Yeah. Let me loop through each one and see. Also, why is there 3 boxes, right?
That's what I was saying.
But all right, so let me do this. Shapes.
Oh, because shapes of data is just, I see. It's just like an array of really basic GeoJSON features.
Correct.
Got it.
I think per county.
Yep. Let's say there's 3,100-ish of them.
All right, your box is black now.
It looks like they're all getting rendered on top of each other somehow. Is my projection off?
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Cooking with fire.
There you go. What's up with the stroke?
All right, so
That
we have a
always-
canvas map. Yeah?
Yeah, nice. I feel like every time I take out a projection and it works, I get weirded out.
It's because all the fucking example. Sorry, I went on a rabbit hole the other day, and all the example, like counties, for a lot of observable examples, are pre-projected topo JSON at like a 978 width, which like magically works for observable and breaks everywhere else.
Yeah, I looked into because you can use this bit size thing. So let me
Yeah, but none
see.
of them do that because it's like exactly how it should be. So like you actually have to use a totally different source file that's not pre-projected. Anyway, I could.
Oh, that's right. So I'm trying to project something. Why did that?
Yeah, remember we used the wrong US Atlas
I can't.
one. Like one of them. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't. You're saying we used the wrong.
I think. Let me check which one we're using because like one of them's pre-projected and one of them isn't. We keep using the wrong one. And because of this one magically working with no projection, I'm assuming it's the weird wrong one. Yeah, counties, Albers 10M. Let me look at US Atlas.
That one's supposed to be if it's Albers, it's projected. I
Correct.
guess.
Counties Albers 10M is pre-projected at 975 by 610. You want counties 10M.
And then I want.
Who's responsible for this?
It's probably me.
No, I mean the fact
forward.
that like there's a quantized geometry at a 975 by 610 viewport.
I guess it happens so often. Okay, so this is getting
All right.
closer.
Yeah. You just gotta zoom.
Do I want?
Keep on zooming.
It's suspiciously
More zoom.
close to. If I just say width.
Yeah, width times like 0.4 or some shit. Oh, you just did width? Okay, that's cool.
Looks good.
Maybe it should be. Why isn't it map width? I don't know. I
Map width
forget
is
why we
better
use
because
map width
it's
at some
not
point, but it's
because it
like
works on Retina, I think. And I've been capturing these at
oh,
2 device pixel 2 or whatever through Puppeteer, and then I get hella big screenshots, and I can make 4K video from them. And I'm all about the high
there's
quality
probably
lately.
nice. At some point, then we'll want to look at. I think Canvas has a setting for that too.
That's
I forget what it is
correct.
off the
Yeah,
top of my head.
it's also like device pixel density. I'll look at it for a second. Canvas.
All right. Well, I'm gonna remove the SVG code that we've replaced so far.
Great.
So
Cool.
we want the stroke. Looks like the stroke is dependent on width. Was dependent whether it's a metric or not. The opacity is based on the metric, and then the fill is none. So this is okay. This is for the empty counties. I see. So we just want the stroke. Okay, that's fine. So we take this
Yeah,
here.
that even like double commented out. That
Oh, this part. Right. Yeah, because that's for the circle. So we are still going to want to adopt that. So the alternative for this is like CTX stroke style equals light gray. And I think it's line width is if d dot metric 0.5 not 0. And
What's this metric key?
sorry?
0. What's metric? What's the metric key?
It's the whatever the value is
I see.
that we're trying to map. And
It's like a
since
select. Got it.
yeah, in the original I mean it's here, like these are all the different metrics
And
that
it
this
makes it so
API
that
exposes.
the script that scrapes them, it'll switch them out automatically for us, so that like I can run it once and it does all 8 signals from the same notebook.
Cool. Got it.
Yeah.
So like when you change the select, then like that whole array gets mapped over, and metric becomes like a new. It's still metric, but it's like a new value.
Exactly.
That represents
Metric.
whatever you just selected.
Exactly.
Cool.
I think we weren't actually using it, so then okay, so I think they all had the metric for this, but like I don't know if it's doing anything.
Yeah.
D dot metrics dot stroke. Oh, I don't think. Yeah. Weren't there some cases? Maybe I should look at the original one in another tab where you change. Well, yeah, even doctor's visits should have a bunch of missing counties. I guess what I'm noticing is not happening. Right? Like these are all here.
Yep.
So I think there's something about the way I'm doing line width. I'm gonna make this.
Well, it is D, right? It's like that's the
That
top
worked.
level. It's not D dot properties dot metric. Yeah. Okay. Right.
That's working great.
Yeah, I don't think I want it to be say it once. I don't think I can do. Okay. It should be just 1 or 0,
Yep.
right? Is that the? No, it can't be 0. Is the problem?
You can't be 0.
I don't think it's line width. I think it's stroke width.
No, I think it. Well, I'll double check.
Yeah,
I mean-
canvas is weird. It's line
I also
width,
trust
even though everything else.
Ian's
is short.
bizarre memory
wait,
of
yeah.
canvas commands. I don't know why you have that.
You are right. It is line width.
And then if we want to draw the centroid, also let me publish this so folks in the chat.
Ian, why do you know Canvas so good? What did you spend 10,000 hours writing in Canvas?
It's just there's almost always a way that you can get something to look exactly like you
No,
want
I know
to
that, but
by
like half my
not-
time using it is remembering like it's not stroke width, it's line width, and you have to like do the begin arc, you know what I mean? Like, and you have to remember to stroke it it's like all the weird, gotchas about it that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, because I also like made so many small blocks and so many like I prototype a lot, like explore a lot of things. So it just like if you just do it a ton of times, it sinks in, I guess. Or you just get tired of looking it up after the 100th
Right.
time. And you
So it wasn't
decide-
like one project where you did a lot of Canvas. It's just working through a lot of Canvas examples.
Yeah, and I'd say that like most of the time, and most of my work that I've ended up visualizing stuff comes into play sooner or later.
Anytime you want to visualize more than 1,000 things.
Yeah, and often I do like to try to, kind of like we're going for with the dot density, like give a better sense of what's going on and or more granular. But you still usually end up with some SVG to overlay or control stuff or yeah. Okay, but I wanted to real quick draw the circle. We'll just use the centroid, right?
Sure.
Why?
And-
To what end?
Well, we want to draw
Or like recreating the map.
Yeah, I wanted to recreate.
Oh, you're
it
still
just
trying to
briefly.
recreate the old map.
Yeah, I'm not going to
Make
use
the
the
dots.
force layout.
Make the dots.
But that's the thing. Think about it. It's the first dot. It's like one small dot
All right.
for each county, and like, because if you can draw one, you can draw 100 or 1,000, however many units you want to draw.
One small dot for man, one large dot for mankind. I thought we were trying to
For
say.
this notebook.
This notebook.
Yeah. So, all right. And basically, yeah, so all we're going to do is we're going to set, this time we want to set the stroke style.
Yeah, you're never gonna remember how to do a circle though in Canvas.
A circle? Oh, I
Yeah.
remember that.
You
'Cause
fucking
circles are like
yeah? Yeah, do you?
yeah. I draw circles all the time.
Okay.
It's like the first thing that
All right,
happens.
fucking from memory.
every day,
From memory, show
I
me how to
drink-
draw a circle.
I make my coffee and I draw circles. It's just like it's how the day goes. So I'm gonna do another begin path, and it's an arc.
Yeah.
You get the x and the y coordinate.
straight you
so what is it? I don't think we have d dot x and d dot y anywhere, but I'm just gonna write it for now.
Got it.
Give it a radius.
Of course.
Right. I'm gonna give it 5.
Yep.
And then you
Here's
gotta
where it
give
gets
it the
tricky.
angle. So you give it the angle, which is 0 to 360.
Yeah, what is
but
this
it's
shit?
In, it's in the radians or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's the pi.
Yep. Holy shit.
And then
The man did it.
yeah.
Insane.
Oops.
Well done.
I've been using P5JS simply because it has a dot circle command that you don't have to give arcs to. Who made this, by the way? Who decided this is how circles should be drawn? And like,
Is that right? I think I got it wrong some.
you might have skipped. So it's X, Y, radius. No
I'm
idea.
pretty sure it's because D and X and D and Y don't exist, right? So why would
Oh, yeah.
That is
remember
that
it.
is indeed what I just said.
You left you the hints the whole time.
So you have to project it using its
yeah.
geometry.
You know what? Let's take a look at the data real quick so it's shapes with data, and we did something. We added a centroid object, which is geometry, but it is already, I believe,
Pre-projected?
Projected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because we used turf.
Yep. Shouts out turf.
I think so. Let's see what happens. It might not
I
be because those look like they could have been um, centroid.geometry. Wait, was it
yeah, it
centroid.coordinates
was
or
something fucking
geometry
crazy. Let me look at it.
coordinates?
You're at shapes with data.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looking at what that looks like.
I still don't have any circles.
Yeah, it's centroid.geometry.coordinates, which is an array.
Yeah. Oh, but they're all, they need to be projected. Yeah.
Yeah, they look like raw lat long.
Yeah. So
Wait, tell Turf to do it.
I think we can just do
No, you crazy person. Do it in shapes with data.
what?
What are you doing?
I'm just doing it right here.
I want to do it. I'm doing it in shapes with
All
data.
right.
Take that. I can edit the
Do
notebook
it.
too.
Do it.
Yeah. So now,
Is point
oh
an
god
array?
damn it! Projection is not defined. Oh, because it's not. Okay, you do it your way. Never mind. My way sucks. I'm so sorry.
Well, you could pull it out.
Don't feel like it. Your way rules.
What's going on with my points? Um, null. Okay, great. No. D. Why does projection not work the way I think it works?
You were passing it the coordinates array before?
Oh, is that what I'm supposed to do? Geometry.
Yes, please.
I think you might be right. Oh, yeah, you got it.
I make
Okay,
maps.
why is So one of these doesn't have point, I guess. All right, so we got some dots.
Hey,
Uh,
Look at that.
sick dude.
it starts with one dot. Yeah. I think one thing that would be interesting. So let me publish this. One thing that might be interesting, because now we're gonna switch to like making multiple dots,
Oh
right?
yeah, please.
Yeah.
Would be to actually have the county background filled in with this color and then use either like white or black dots to stipple over it or something, because the color already gives you the scale, right? So we should see that gets covered more.
No, I don't think we should have the colors at all. Like it should be like fucking has COVID is a dot or nothing fills the county shape.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just go out making the dots.
Yeah, man. I've been all dots the whole time.
All right. Let's see what Aaron did, because I think we can use his help here. So we need to. He's using Turf. Okay.
Everybody uses Turf. It's the
Okay,
fucking
fine.
best
Everybody
centroid
uses
finding library available on the market today.
Yeah. No, I can't disagree. So there's two things going on. So there's drawing, but there's generate. So we want to generate. So we want to get this bound. So we should be able to path that bound. So we should be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
The feature. So I'm actually just going to this specifically as ethnicity column. So we're going to do something. He's doing colors here. So let's.
We only have one
try,
color. We don't really need a color scheme.
Yeah. So what
Yeah,
I'm thinking
I
is
think that's right.
I'll copy the function, and we're definitely gonna credit and link here. Also, let me generate or delete all of this stuff. I mean, we don't have a legend or anything, but
Not yet.
for now, this is good. So this is using color
Yeah, I
scheme,
think
but
for
we're
that,
saying,
it could be a string. Or whatever, however
Yeah.
we want to do it.
I don't know, or tell me a color, EJ.
No, you killed it, bro. Knocked it out of the park.
Gray.
Yeah. So along
Cool.
that population data, what is population data? So
That's
that
what he pulls
is
out of the census there.
this is
Hey,
this
I
math
feel like we
around
have
this
population
stuff.
data. Damn it. Oh yeah, we do.
So
It's
that's
called
like,
He's
it's we
like
got population in our data.
people
right.
per point is another. So that was
So that's the number of points, right? Is like what that number gets
Oh,
to, because that's the population that you care about. Whatever, he pulls it out of the census, divided by people per dot.
10. Do 10, please.
yeah.
Oh, you're doing the slide. No, fuck a slider. We decide.
I want a
All right.
slider. I mean, we
That
just end up.
input library is one of my favorite reasons to use observable. Like, it's so easy to build these tiny, super responsive, like, somewhere between baby app and Viz things. It's really cool.
I'm still not. It still doesn't totally make sense in my brain. The like view of situation, but
So
Yeah,
left.
I mean, I don't get it either. I've tried to read that like synchronized view, like observable notebook that's out there like a bunch of times, but if you just do it, it works. So,
got it. Well, it's just React. You just change a very. Yeah, I get it. So,
Yeah.
So if this is a single feature, it has properties, but we don't care about the properties. We also need path to be available outside, so we can do that.
what?
Yeah.
So that's
Can
what
we
you were
look at
getting at
his
earlier.
should we look at his loop and like see what it's doing?
Yes. Let me pull this out.
Wait, let me pull out your path and projection while you do that, because that's work. I can handle
Oh,
that. That seems like a thing I can handle, right?
okay. Yeah, I projection because I started
Where'd you
pretty
put
late.
it? You put it underneath, you crazy
Right,
fuck?
underneath, yeah.
God damn.
It's like, well, above the generate density thing I'm trying
All
to
right.
get. So this uses a context. Um, so this is where we want our metric. So it's going to be something
Yep.
like feature.metric over people per point. So
Wait, but
this
metric is
map,
like this weird 0.51 value, isn't it? Or is that just saying those are really low values?
yeah, those are percent. So at least, or well, not all of them are percent. So that's the thing, is that we have scales for the different metrics. I believe, right? Um, where is that defined? Metrics. Metrics here. I guess it's the value you get. Yeah, like you said, these could be these random
Okay.
numbers. We did define a radius scale at one time because yeah, we have a metric extent. So EJ calculated the extent of the metric. So this is on a daily basis, right? So we probably want something like this, where it's going to give us how many dots we want given a metric value, right? Does that
Yes.
make
Yep.
sense?
That sounds right.
So I think I'll say dot scale. And so it could be a linear scale, right? This one was a square root scale because it's the circle's
Yeah, it was
area.
area based.
Maybe this one, I don't know.
I think starting
And
with linear
then,
makes sense.
yeah, let's try it that way. And so what should we have be like the least and most amount of dots we want to render?
There is no least or most. Least 10, most as many as your heart contains. Right?
Um, well, we have to decide that. What does your heart
It
contain?
contains
Like,
5,000 dots
all right.
per county.
So
Yes. Yes.
I
Damn
guess it'd
straight
be
it does.
0. Well, I'm gonna put 50
All
for.
right.
No, I'm gonna put 5,000. I listen. Because right now that's not gonna do anything because we're not using it yet. But yeah. So you want 5,000 dots per county. Now keep in mind though that like how many pixels is even like this county, right?
Yeah.
All
If
right.
it's less
You're
than
right.
5,000
Let's try
pixels, then
500.
okay, let's try that.
Yeah, what will it do? It'll just make it, because then if you give them
But
opacity,
but
it'll be
what we're
darker with 5,000, right? In a smaller space.
are we kind of fucking with it by using? So Aaron uses people per dot. That's like the number that he changes, and
Yeah,
then
it
that
starts with 10.
given some metric and absolute count, he has dots. But if we're saying that given the metric, it's going to like extrapolate over this linear scale. I guess it's just like above the max, right? Which that's a problem, a different kind of problem. Sorry, I had to think through that. Like, what is that really a good way to do that? Let's try it.
Yeah, probably not necessarily. Like, ideally, like you'd want to do what 1 dot per 10 COVID cases in a county or something like that, and we'll find the right ratio based on what it looks like, right?
Right. I think you would do it irrespective of the data limits. But Ian, the reason you want to use the scale is to like handle the kind of like some are percent values and some are not, right?
Yeah, why'd you want to
Yes.
scale, Ian?
Well, because I didn't want to change the math, or even think about the math too
Same.
much.
Right there with you.
So I mean, because the other thing we could think of is that, well, each county has a different population. Um,
Right.
so we could draw the number of dots could be based on the population. So, and then it's just like what color that dot is would be the metric, like, the percentage value or something, right? It's like if you're going to draw half of those dots as, although that only works if it's like a per population, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
I think you know what, given that we're all number, that's like I feel like the scale is going to work fine for us getting dots on the map,
Dots on the
and
map.
then we can like go back and because I think that I don't know, I have to think about it more, but like the dots per people seems to make more sense when you're trying to explain the chart than if you were like the number of people gets mapped to this scale.
Yeah. Yeah, dot per person. That's what the name on the 10.
right. So I guess if we draw a dot per person, well, we wouldn't, counties can have like millions of people in them.
I got millions of pixels, bro.
Yeah, but they're gonna stack, and you're basically means like only the last 500 people show up.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We're only working with
make-
one metric, so it's either they exist or they don't, or they either have COVID or they don't. So I think that this is the one time that's allowed, right? If there were different races, where then if the last 500 were one race, they covered up all the others. That's that's not okay. But I think you can do one color with opacity, and it'll have the effect.
Okay. I feel like, yeah, the best way to find out is to see it, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I want to try that. So in that case, I think what I'm doing will get us something, right? Like we have the dot scale, we're passing a metric, so we're gonna get some number of dots based on a number, and we'll try out the different approaches, and then we want to use opacity, which we can totally do.
Yeah.
I don't think we're currently doing it because we're only drawing one, but we'll get there in a second. I think the next thing we want to do is run this function so that it should give us the points for each county, right? So I think, let me just try it here where I say shapes with data.map generate density. Oh, it needs a context? Why does it need a context? Turf Boolean point and polygon is not a function. It's like my version of turf different. Let's try that. Looks like we have a lot of empty points, undefined. What's going on here? So I thought each one of these is a feature of each of the shapes with data. What is my shapes with data?
Yeah, it is a feature.
It is feature with geometry. So there's something else. The matter path dot bounds. You pulled path out, right?
Yes, sir.
PJ? Yeah. Oh, but where'd you get CTX? Oh,
I
okay.
pulled that out too.
But then, oh, this is just using CTX that way. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I like that.
Did I invent something? What's cool?
Well, having the context outside of the graphic cell, because theoretically, then, yeah, I mean, you could paint to that canvas in a couple places.
Sick.
Although, yeah, this is gonna like overwrite everything when it runs. So,
Oh, word.
which is fine. All right, but anyway, so. All right, so we have a path, and it should be giving us bounds. Let me just do generate
I added
density.
opacity. I'm trying to work on my also coding.
Nice.
I'm trying to work on contributing ever. I feel like I'm doing better tonight.
Infinity. Okay, so this is actually giving me bounds, so that's good. I'm also gonna not run this one. Population data times 10.
So then there's like this hits value, and we go through that. And we check to make sure we don't have the number of dots. And there's like an upper bound of limit. And then we just have a random point, assign a color. Is it in this polygon? Which that function right there, that's doing a lot of heavy lifting on this thing, that turf function.
Yeah. So I feel like, I wonder, like I'm curious about random point. I want to make sure population data I can see what that is. So I can just do, well, I'm going to say test feature. It's that one. So it's the first data there. And then I'm going to get the bounds of test feature. I'm basically just going to try to look at parts of this algorithm piece by piece, make sure it makes sense. And this will be test feature. So that's giving us 37 is our population data.
So we would expect 37 dots, right? That's what that's supposed to do.
Yeah, the limit is 10 times that, so 370. So one thing we can do is console log that out, hits and count. Am I not calling generate density on the feature? So yeah, I got 0 hits within the polygon. So something is off about. So it's making all these random points. Are there these coordinates look projected already?
Yeah, they do.
Definitely.
Y min and Y max. So the bounds. because the bounds are projected. So we don't want. We can't just call it. Pat, can you do? Is there a D3 like projection bounds?
Fit size.
We want to.
So it's only on the back path. I guess what we could do is
you could invert, right, if you wanted that.
Couldn't I do just this without?
Sure. And now you have 36 features in your feature array.
Yeah, that's how many we wanted, right? Or almost.
Yeah, well,
yeah, so
we
I
did
think,
because the condition, yeah.
So what we're doing is we're just asking D3 to give us the bounding box of this GeoJSON feature without telling the projection. And that, because it's turf is also using the unprojected coordinates to check if our point is within the feature, right?
Yeah, so couldn't we have also taken the code as it is and called rpath and then called like projection.invert on the lat long and feed it to turf? That would do the same thing, right?
That sounds legit to me. So let's try it. So if we had path.bounds feature, and then here is the turf. So we'd say projection.invert this. So again, 36.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So that's what we were trying to do. Okay.
Yeah.
That might make it better though, because that's like using the same projection instead of like just remembering that this particular block uses no projection. But
it's more explicit, yeah.
Whatever.
I think you're.
Yeah, it's just more explicit.
Yeah, so that means that we can get dots per county at this point. So we should go back to making this. So each of these is basically an array that matches the county array, the shapes of data array.
Well, but instead, each thing is now a feature collection, right?
Yeah, so basically for each county, it's a feature collection of points.
Yep.
Yeah, so, but what I'm feeling is that we should do something like give a little more metadata. Just, it depends kind of on the ordering staying the same, which
sure
is fine, but again, yeah, this is one of those things also, it's like later.
Yeah.
Just always better to have a little bit more. So this is going to be the dots, and then we'll say dots.id equals d.id. So that gives it that, and return. Oops.
And that ID is a FIPS code, right? Okay.
Yeah. Generate density. Wait, I thought it did return something.
It does. It returns the feature collection.
So shapes with data.
Well, but it's an array. I mean, could you?
So let me see if not dots. Console.log. ID. Let's do that. So this county, it cannot figure out for some reason. Like it doesn't generate a density for it.
Because its metric is 0.
The metric is 0. Okay. So if it's 0, what do we want? We just want no dots, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so then what we'll do is if it's not dots, return null, so then it'll have null items. Oh, why is there still a console log?
I mean, does that make sense?
So some of these would be null, and then I want to, well, I don't necessarily want to filter them out.
I mean, you can filter them out because they're 0, and we're just not going to show any dots. And we're going to iterate over this thing again, right, to add the dots.
Well, I guess the alternative would be that since we're already iterating over this, we could just use the index. So even though I added the ID, yeah, so I mean, maybe what we often do, or we've done this a couple of times, is put it into shapes with data.
Yeah, that's my
right?
favorite method. Put it all together.
Yeah, so in fact, I think instead of doing this with the generate density function, we already have a
just
when
do
we
it
make
in
shapes
our
with
map.
data.
Yeah, where we make stuff. Put it in the place where we make stuff and put it in the data.
I gotta get used to using the thing. So essentially what you're saying is points.
Yeah, look at how beautiful that looks.
Yeah.
You're like, for all my shapes,
like,
here's all the fun stuff that we want.
Oh, crap.
Jeez.
Where did I depend on? Where's generate density?
Oh boy.
It's because you do the
metrics
scaling.
extent. Yeah, because the scale works on that.
No, I don't think that's
okay,
scale. It's dot scale, because dot scale relies on extent.
Yeah. Interesting. I think we could actually, though, shapes with data, metrics.get. So we could look at metrics, the extent of the metrics, essentially, is what I'm thinking.
What do you need the extent for anyway?
Okay.
We need it for the
that's how we do all the
number
scaling.
of
How many dots?
dots.
Sorry. Okay, that makes sense.
All right. I don't know if that worked. I think so. Circular. It's still circular. Metrics. Wait. What did I change? Oh, I changed this one, but this is just a single time to an extent. So I want the same contents here. Metrics as 1.
Yeah, sick. Well, they're still undefined.
Hang on. So what I had before was array from. That's why I copy paste.
Noise.
All right. What is going on here?
I did some stuff.
Nice. All right, so you drew the points?
Yeah, I draw 2 points now because I think it looks cool.
Ah. All right. But we will be able to now do basically at this point
Yeah.
I agree it looks
Yeah, you
cool,
can get rid of
but
it.
now when I draw my little points,
Yeah.
right? Um, Also, I think you want it to be like this. So now we have our county dot points. So if it has points,
Perfect.
we want to do, I guess
Is
it's
it generate
feature
density?
collection.
Oh no, you already did it.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. So it's this, right? Um, Feature of features, it's grabbing the color. I'm a little confused by the syntax, but we'll figure it out. Grabbing the
Hmm.
coordinates. Oh, okay, he's making,
It's like destructuring all the way to XY.
yeah, and setting the
From
color.
right. So he's actually
Uh,
not making circles because I think since the assumption seems to be since it's a pixel grid of rectangles anyway, just make one pixel.
That makes sense.
right, we could totally borrow from that as well. I guess, I mean, we could do it the function way, but I'm just going to do it inline here. Feature of features, it's d dot points, and getting the x, ctx. We don't have a, oh no, we set them all to the same color.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did I do wrong here? Some if statement looking.
You use fill color to string. I already did it up a little bit further up.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, I feel like my indenting is, oops. I think I need an extra for thing. Okay. All right, well, it didn't seem to do what I had hoped. Why is it still drawing this circle?
Can you? I'm trying to. I wish they had line numbers in these motherfucker. If you comment out the second fill style equals color, like we already set it above, so I don't think you need that.
Oh, yeah. I can turn that off. So it's great. But yeah, it's like nothing is changing here, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. I'm still seeing. Oh, I wonder if taking the context out ruined everything.
I don't think so, because you've made a bunch of changes to it since you've done that. It seemed to work.
Well, I hit Shift Enter on it and it refreshed for me, and it looks way
I'm just
different.
going to refresh my page.
Well, that's a whole bunch of. I guess. Do you see pixels? We could just set the fill color to red, huh?
No. Yeah, we could do that. Oh, and the global alpha. I guess that's not. Yeah.
That could, yeah.
Yeah, we could take that out for now. That's going to show the county boundaries. But I don't know if have text out. The other thing we could do is set the context. Well, I'm kind of inclined now to move the path back inside because with this invert thing, if we basically don't have to bring that path out, we can move the path and the context back into the rendering, which is like, I do kind of feel like the context is that canvas, and so it's
Yeah, I
probably
have a feeling that that's the
best
issue
to go
too.
for that. So let me try, and then I'll keep this around in case. But then if we just don't have to project this, then yeah, we move that into here and the path back. The projection is still good outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now if we, so I think there's something else going on. DW, so we're going over all the features.
Well, you don't even need this color situation. Like, I would just get. Can we just get rid of that or what?
Yeah, just one. I think it may still work. Let's comment it for a second.
All right.
Because the other thing is, did I get points wrong? Like if I look at, I think this is shapes with data. Each of these had, yeah, points is undefined constantly. So I did something wrong when I tried to set up shapes with data. So generate density S, county shapes. So each shape that's extrapolating S should be a feature, but generate density is returning pass that test.
Are you expecting a feature collection back for generate density?
Yes, this is what I'm expecting. And it's taking in a feature, which would be a county. So that's what I think we're looping over is these counties when we do shapes with data. Points, metric. If I say density, still undefined. So I'm not clear on why S wouldn't be exactly the same as a county, right? Like we're passing it into centroid.
Yep.
And a lot of these, the metric, because it doesn't have a metric on it.
Oh.
So,
Well,
one way,
we could just like do a little. We can make this object and then pass it to this function and then return it.
Shapes with data and density.
Right? Well, actually, I meant something like I'm changing the shapes with data function.
oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were. I was also about to. Let me.
Can you see as I
shift
type?
enter?
No.
Shift enter.
I can't see what you type, but if you shift enter, your changes will come up.
Okay, but that breaks
So
it. I realize that breaks it, but what is we can do something like, and then this is probably not algorithmically the best, right? Because you're like going through it again.
Can you shift enter again? And,
Oh yeah, I've just been typing and like yeah. Shift enter again. So like the idea would be to make a new object to get, what did we call it? Did we call it density? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it's points, right?
I think this looks good. Yeah, if you shift enter one more time and then there's one minor change I'd probably make to this, but otherwise it's
all right,
exactly
go
what
for it.
So I would just say that we could say, sorry. say next data dot points. We just set that. Oops.
There you go. Yeah.
And then this would be just return next data.
Cool.
So we don't have to like unpack it twice. But yeah, so now it's there.
Sure.
So it's all great. Exactly. Exactly what we want. Okay, d dot points is not iterable. Fine. D dot points that for each feature.
Like your response.
Now,
You're like, all right.
feature collection is not iterable, so it's the
It's features. Points dot features.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, seem to do something and take longer, but I don't see.
Yeah, I don't see any
points.
points either.
Let's try making each rect bigger than.
So I'm one step ahead of you. I made an R at the 10 of the top of this map, and that's what the pixels are sized by. And then I made it 10, and then I also made them red, which I believe would make some fucking red pixels show up, and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know what it is. That didn't. No. This needs to be. And so we need to project it.
No, now there's red pixels.
Yes, very big ones.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure that we would see them.
I feel like also.
What fun!
Wow.
Can we make it smaller than 1
Let
pixel?
me see. No.
Make it 0.5 though.
And then if we add some opacity, we could probably start to get a nice layering
All right.
effect.
Let me do
Yeah.
some opacity stuff real quick.
All right. So one thing I realized, I wanted to actually fork this.
Wait, hold on. I'm doing
ago.
lap stuff. Give me a goddamn second. All right, as you were.
What did you do?
Well, I made them use the color of our current thing, and then I made them a little bigger, and then but I gave them opacity, but I gave it 0.25. Maybe I should do less. Anyway.
I feel like this, as it is on my page at least, it's hard to read almost. Wait,
Yeah, let me hold on.
Zero.
Let me do this slightly differently. Let me just do. I'll do like the fill color red still because that was awesome. And I'll still do the opacity. Well, wait, no, that's not right. D3 color red. There you go. That's a lot more fun. But now they have opacity.
I mean, yeah. This is be interesting to do this as an animated chart with the 7-day rolling average of cases per county.
Well, buddy, back to the idea of publishing, Ian. If you publish this URL, I can run our script and start collecting that.
Let me.
No, you hate that idea?
Let me fork this and publish that, because this one, like I wanted to have the original bubble version. So.
Oh, you're gonna revert it?
Fork this.
Fork.
I think so. I'm
revert.
gonna first make sure that this, has exactly what we want. And so mapmaker dot density based on notebook.
I'm like.
So one thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, you
I was just gonna say I'm really excited to see what the time lapse of this looks like. But I want to take away some of the county lines before I do that. But what were you saying, Jeremiah?
I wonder if so like with these, like I think it should be very clear that these maps, like any unit chart, are not for like very serious analysis, right? They're like for like gestalt analysis almost, like a sense of distribution over time. Because I'm realizing now that our algorithm doesn't account for the fact that we might randomly put 2 points on top of each other.
So I saw there's actually a dude who did a fork of Aaron's notebook who addressed that problem. If we want to steal his method.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
Yeah. All right, so I just published this. I'll put it in the chat.
Woo-hoo! And then I'll put it into the script, and then I'll start scraping, or capturing, or rendering, or bouncing.
Nice. Yeah. And so I guess you just use red. We could use.
No, I love just using red. It's great. Wait, can we put the title back
but
in?
yeah,
The
for
title
each,
and the date were super handy.
I think we should also, yes, so the legend. Why is that color scale?
Well, let me just for shits and gigs see if it's running, and then we can make some changes to it.
Did you change the outlines how you
Not
wanted?
really.
It should be like a lighter
Yeah.
color, right? I'm trying to remember how we did the color. Okay, so the dot density, this is our bubble map. So the way that we set the title color and the title, we got this color scale.
It's also super wide
Got
for
that.
reasons I don't. Oh, we have to do the pixel density thing with Canvas also.
Yes.
Totally forgot about that.
The color. Okay, I don't think we want that. Well, I think, yeah, so this is for one. I see, so color red.
That's what I have right above that.
No, this is always going to be the max value.
So it's not the. Got it. Sorry.
So it kind of acts like a fill similar to the original chord flat, right? It's like using the same heat map color. Oh, well, no, it's not. It's not using value. It's always the brightest color. But this means that when you run the different metrics, each heat map will be distinct.
Cool.
But it's all one solid color.
I kind of like the red, but I could be convinced by this.
Well, it will be red for depth.
Thank you. Thanks, Ian.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Here, let's look at that real quick. I'm just gonna
Wow, that's weird, right? Yeah.
Oh, it's because zero deaths are being treated as no data right now.
Wow, that's just for the
so
county.
we probably
outline.
don't want that.
Yeah.
For the outlines, right. But that's probably, we had that somewhere else where, so it's really, we're just going to use opacity. It really should be, one, and then if d dot metric or d dot metric equals 0, I guess. Oh wait, let's try that. Yeah, so it's gonna draw everything, but then I believe like doctor's visits has missing data, so it won't draw it then.
Wait, so which ones of these are percentage values? Or not like absolute? Like,
if you look down below, there's a signal, or actually no, it's right above. There's a signal dictionary, and so each of the keys is one of the drop down things, and we could expose this easier, but it's percentage. So like the first
Also, y-axis says
5, I believe, are. Oh yeah, but we took the y-axis out on this one. So wait, we don't have a
no.
y-axis.
The y-axis field in signals tells you whether it's percentage or not. It's basically labels the value.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. So combined is an arbitrary
Yeah, don't use that.
scale. And then these are cases and deaths per 1,000 people. So these are a rate,
Yeah.
they're not a percent.
The rate feels harder. It feels like the wrong visualization for rate.
I agree with that. Unless you draw 100 dots, right, and then one of them is colored.
Well, unless you like repopulate the rate. Yeah, exactly. But like, I don't, for instance, for like doctor visits, like you don't know what the denominator is, right? So
It's a percentage, though. It's a percentage of doctor visits that are COVID related, I think.
But you don't know how many
right,
doctor visits there are.
Right.
exactly.
Got it.
So like in this case, like I think it's not. I mean, I see what we're doing, and that's interesting, but I think it's distorting us.
I still think it works for
So,
cases, raw cases, especially if you make it cumulative.
for sure, or even yeah.
Oh, but I
or
took
like
raw
a
cases out of our
very
signals.
specific snapshot in time.
Damn it, why did I do that? It's because I don't believe in raw cases, but except for this one specific time.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can, 7-day rolling average to like make them more reasonable.
Let me put raw cases back. I'm just gonna copy cases and assume that's basically the same. Cases. Actually, what I can do is I can open this.
I feel like these are different dates now. That's
Well, like your color scale, like on the original one, the map maker bubbles too, like that legend has numbers that make it look like doctor visits. How'd you get those?
No, I think those are percentages.
Yeah, I think those are percentages too.
It's yeah, I mean we're generating the legend kind of lazily is the problem. Like the legend component takes a scale. So I guess the color scale doesn't go from 0 to 100%. Like the max value is 50% on this day.
Sure.
Okay, so I did just add raw cases back. It should work. Yeah, I think it is.
Cases.
Yep.
All right, so now cases, so we'd want it to be scaled to the absolute maximum at a time period, right?
Correct.
Or like some number where it's like past 100,000, it's just gonna basically black out or something like that. So like,
yes, some reasonable, artistically decided number.
And that's where people per point could also come into play.
Yes.
So I think this is sounding more and more like the right call as well to me. So our dot scale then, it wouldn't be the metric extent. So it's like, what would it be? So it's like 0 cases is obviously 0 dots. But like, I guess if we went and got the max.
It's d dot population divided by like.
Well, if we change it to like July 20th, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have data for that.
Yeah, it might not. It might be too early.
When does... I don't see cases in the...
Try 615. What did you do?
It was working a second ago. Did I just like break it or something?
Yeah, it doesn't work for any of them now. I think you probably deleted more than you meant
Oh,
to.
oh, oh, oh. Yeah, God. Okay, sorry. I did. Where was I? Dot scale. So I didn't finish figuring out what the domain should be. So, all right, let's bring it back to, can you put it back to like July 20th?
Yeah.
Well, that's not necessarily going to tell us the max ever, unless we know like the height in New York or Florida. But we're calculating the extent just in general.
It's cases per counties per day, right?
Yep.
So we can pick a number. Like even in New York, like it's 1,000 cases a day is a big deal.
Yeah, do 1,000.
For the city. So I think if you put like even 500, yeah. But what we do really want is some max, and then divide this number by the dots per person number. That's potential maximum dots, right? That's what we want.
Yeah.
There's also the other aspect of cumulative, right? Which it's hard to do the way our data comes in. Like, it doesn't come in cumulatively, but like, if my goal is like, all right, so watch the COVID crisis spread with one dot representing one infection in the United States, right? And you would sort of watch it pile up. Like, it's not like they go away the next day after the case is found. You know what I mean? Like, New York should get redder and redder and redder.
Yeah, but then you lose the utility. Very cumulative. That's why I think like doing the rolling day average could be cool for the animation, because stuff would clear out. Like, I would not be drawn to New York for the entire. Because like the thing is, New York is in a second outbreak now, right?
Right.
Like, it seems like all the numbers are going back up. You don't want that red to just pile on. You want it to like subside and come back.
Is that true? I have to check the data on that.
Well, yeah. You should check the data. Don't trust me.
Lucky for me, I'm working on a tool that addresses exactly this. So.
I feel like something's wrong. My people per person. It's not the domain. It's the. Well, okay. I guess now we don't want the scale anymore.
Right. I think we just take the value divided by dots per people, right? That's what the scale would give us anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So now it's.
I don't see a second.
Wait,
I don't see a second wave. Jeremiah.
Can you look at Jersey?
Yeah.
What about Jersey?
Oh wait, I'm not. Let me make it more recent. Jersey is seeing an uptick in the combined indicator in some counties, but it seems good otherwise. Let me see. State. Nah, Jersey looks good. Yeah. New York had a little bump in the beginning of July, but pretty much good. Whereas if you look at like Miami, it looks fucking insane. Yeah, like whoa. Yeah, Florida looks crazy.
When are you looking at?
I'm looking at basically this is the small multiples feature, and it ends. The most recent is July 20th. So I guess I could make it August 1st and see what happens.
So I think I'm hooking it up now to where, so if I look at generate density, so I'm dividing the feature into a metric divided by people per point, and this is on cases, and I'm also just going to make the cases. Why this?
Or can you just move cases to the top? Can't I just move cases to the top? I will do it right now. Give me 1 second in sensors.
Yeah, you should do that. I mean, people shouldn't be able to choose the other ones because it just, I guess they won't draw any dots. So.
What do you mean?
Well, the way we're doing it now, if it's cases, then our data, if it's raw cases, that means like that's the number of people, right? So that's the number of dots we're drawing.
Okay, well, cases are at the top now.
Why does it look so faint with so few people per dot? Shouldn't there just be more dots?
Yeah. Like, even if it's just, well, I mean, even, I don't think 500 dots looks like that many. So, like, this is, right? It's like some of these counties, you could change, I don't know, you made it a subpixel size, right? When you render the dot. So, um, it will look less faint. Um, when was the surge in the south? I guess through July, right? Yeah, so this is, yeah, this is like if you have a tiny county, it's, or even as tiny as these are, I guess it takes a lot of pixels to fill these areas.
Can we like
So
zoom
as we
in
draw
on
them,
like, because that's the other thing. Sorry, can you make a couple more cells? Like now we have our U.S. map. Can you make me a cell that's zoomed into New York and one that's zoomed into Florida, and then I can make my time lapse thing, grab all of them at the same time, and make many time lapses at once with the same notebook?
probably. Let me publish this because I think this is. Oh, we already put it in the chat. We'll have it there. So, yeah, one second. So I was kind of thinking through patients, right? Like right now we are literally. I should probably also get rid of this slider or comment it out because we're just drawing one dot per case. That's what we're saying.
That's yes.
Though wait, something is. That's it. This is new cases.
Correct, per day.
So this is not cumulative.
Correct. That's what I was saying before.
Correct.
Okay, I think I was like.
You were
Following the code when
writing
you're
this
talking
whole
about
thing,
that.
so I don't really blame you. That's totally okay. But yeah, I was saying basically like it'll be new cases for each day. I don't know how we do it to actually make it cumulative besides like tracking the value on every API call. Jeremiah made the really good point that it should be like a 7-day rolling average so that like you see cases and then they disappear after a little while. I like that approach, but I don't know how to do it necessarily.
That is really interesting. Yeah, I mean, you'd basically have to request 7 days and draw them, or draw the average.
So for
right.
Ooh, yeah, you probably have to at minimum 7, but you generally have to have like just kind of all. It's easy if you have all the days, right? Because then you can map through it, like slice 7 items around it.
So do you want me
get the
to? So
average
shall
value.
we scrape all the counties for all the days?
Yes.
And then we can just do whatever we want with it?
Yeah, that's something we mentioned a couple of streams ago, and I think it still sounds like a reasonable idea.
So I'll start with cases. Should I write a little node script that requests the cases data for every county for every day that we want, and then returns one huge old JSON with every... Oh no, I guess does every county contain a value for a day? So it's like day metric value.
I think that would be the
per
easiest.
state.
Then,
Sure.
like when you're thinking about how to find, like I would return it so that each county is a feature, but it has in its properties array, it has every like an array of like date and case number, like tiny objects, because then you can have that top level date value. And what you can do is when you're trying to find the thing you care about, just search in that array until you find where the date matches. And then that makes your animation really easy because then you just like change that date value.
That sounds fun.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you just write a node scraper?
How does this API work? I don't know anything about this API.
Well, so the other thing to think about though is that we could. Didn't the New York Times publish?
They publish mask
like
data.
a case count.
Oh, what?
Well, mass data, but I think like Paul's thing,
Yeah.
right? Um, there was like some open source
Oh,
thing.
do
So
they
do
have? You're
you?
saying do they have cumulative cases?
Or is it just
Yeah.
in the
Oh,
time series format, or?
Let me see.
yeah. So, uh, I mean, maybe this one. So source the New York Times. This is, I don't know, based on county, it looks like.
Yeah.
So this probably has a data set in the format we're talking. Now, and it would be cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
EJ, you're interested in also visualizing the other aspects of your API that
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at.
um,
We have the New York Times does have that data. It has a date. Basically, the fields it has date, county, state, cases, and deaths. So you could do some like spreadsheet math to get your cumulative.
yeah, it looks like they're using so Jeremy Ashkenazi is using D3 Nest to
Yeah,
collapse
exactly.
on the or
Oh,
greater than
interesting.
start date, I guess. Um, so yeah, this has every county and case and date for I don't know when. Going back, there's a lot of things.
For a long time. I mean, going back to January. One of the first
Right.
dates
So I
there was
mean,
January 22nd.
yeah, what we could do, there's a couple of things to do, right? Like you could scrape the API, we could use this data source, and then later when you make the API, because you want to do it for all your different metrics, you just have it spit out the same format, and then you could use the same
I'm down for
stuff.
whatever's easiest. I don't think we need to format our approach based around the data that we're using.
Okay. Yeah, then I would recommend we try this data set,
Let's do it. I'm gonna
and
take
I
a break for
will.
a second. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Okay, we can start pulling in stuff from here. I mean, one thing we could actually do is import the data directly from, if we trust Jeremy, and I believe I do. So this, I don't know, start date. We just want this,
Yeah.
right? Because this is, I guess, each day, and for each day, there's a set of counties and counts. So we can work with that, right?
Okay, why are there only 156 or?
I guess that's 156 days.
Okay. Okay. And then, but then why does each? Oh, because early on, not every county had cases. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, we'll be. Alternatively, we could, you know, just get this raw data and do our own grouping.
Yeah.
But I think let's start with following his lead and then um, going from there. So I'm gonna.
There's a super cool part of that importing that I did. I've only done that a couple times, but like I really like how you can redefine variables within its like scope, if you will.
Right.
So like it's pretty tight, like because it basically makes it so that there's like this contract, and you can redefine that stuff and make it a lot easier.
So now we say New York Times data. It's the same thing. So that's sweet. Yeah. So what you're talking about, I believe, is let's say we want to change start date, like we want to start later.
Yeah.
I wonder, yeah, so start date. he just has a string here, or maybe that's the animation or something, but we can also have start date, or I think we have something like oh, it's a different format. Great. But you say with,
Right.
let's say start, yeah, start date as start date.
This
I don't
is
know
like where
now if we want to say,
observable departs from JavaScript and becomes its own like superset.
yeah, it's kind of nice. Like you can reuse stuff and then sort of dynamically change out so now we're setting our start date as this, and really this should be computed from this, because this is the input from our script, so we need to like do something like start split it up into letters, or slice 04. Put that back, cut it up, put it back together. Oops. All right, so now that's based on that. Okay, cool. So now we have this data, and there's fewer elements in it.
Cool.
Things are definitely.
And that looks right, because it's an intense phase. 2,000 counties have cases. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it looks like, but this is then cumulative, or is he adding them together? I don't.
I'm pretty sure this data set, the way it works is it's cumulative, and you calculate updates, like daily deltas yourself. But let's look before we just say things we don't know.
I mean, it definitely.
Yo, what's good?
I don't see. Okay. So we basically imported the New York Times data set into here.
Sick.
And now we're trying to just figure out make sure that we understand that the data is cumulative or not. And we believe it is.
Yeah, cases seem to
So
go
then
up.
we're right. So I guess for what we're talking about, the current date. So this New York Times API, I guess, gives us the cases and deaths date, like cumulative daily counts. And then let me do this from the New York Times data set, right? I'll have to fix the credits later. So for the date that's selected, we want to do what you were saying, Jeremiah, like look through the array and then get the stuff before it or around it, or what?
So you're talking about doing a rolling day average?
Yeah, is that what we still want to do, or do we just want to show the cumulative?
Let's start with cumulative, and then I think we can think about the best way to do the average.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Because the average, I can imagine we just do like a new data mapping, add a new thing, cases rolling average or whatever, and then just chart that once we get first version going?
So I think to get what we want, I want to do our own slicing of the data set, the original data set, because this one, it's like ordered by days, but you can't get at the date until you look at one of the
Yeah, whack.
elements.
Remap it.
And then there's a county, right? So I think if we want to, we can just quickly think through what we want that to look like. So I would say that this is going to be New York Times dots or something. Well, and I'm going to use, so I have to think. So I think there's D3 group and group. So these are alternative to
Right.
nest.
There is no nest in V6.
Which is, right, because like what we probably want to start with is the
That's
day.
what I said.
Yeah. Well, let's just.
Is that the equivalent of basically the key and entries syntax? Your group being like this array by this return value.
Yeah, I think that is right. So this is basically going to give me an array of elements for each day. And since I know what day I'm on, let me make a quick weird little function for this. So normal date string. And then the New York Times data. This will be normal. I wonder if I can do that. Nope. Normal date, start date. So all right. Well, I mean, we're kind of not intending to use this data set probably.
You're really hacking the planner right now.
Important.
So basically, you're telling the other notebook what day you want to pull data for with your import. Some real magical shit. I don't want to just be like, that's fucking cool.
Although, yeah, no, it's cool. But now we don't, because that was to get his version of the processed data.
Right.
And we're trying to process it slightly differently, so now we're actually may not need that if we don't use his version.
Got it, because it's getting
so
his processing is getting in the way.
Right, because we could, for instance, filter. I think we'd say dot filter d dot date is greater than or equal to New Times starts. That should start it at our same date. Although we want to, when we get to the rolling averages, we want to be able to go back in time. So we might just not filter it. Like we'll just look at.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't filter it because you'd filter it after, right? Because you'd want your first day to take account for its 7-day rolling average.
Yeah. So now we have days. So then what we know is that we'd have like, I think if we'd say group of New York Times dots dot get date today, like, so data is our global notebook, right? It's like we're only rendering one data at a time, and we're going to let the script render all the different days, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So we want to group all those things by the FIPS code. It's not iterable. What does this give us if I do this? Date. Oh, it's got to be normal date. So now each FIPS code has, or each,
Has the awesome.
this is the value at, yeah. I mean, if you
Can
get
you
the 0th
de-array it?
element.
I guess.
Can I? Let's see.
Yeah.
Did that? No.
No.
I don't
All
know
right,
why.
forget I asked.
What is, so is it an array, like, is it values? No. I think it's always going to return a maps. I'll have to look up deeper group later, but we can just deal with
Yeah.
it for now, right? Because in shapes with data, what we can say now is, where's our shapes with data? Down here. We would say like New York Times is New York Times counties dot get s dot id 0th element. Oh, can't get 0 of undefined. Oh, okay. I thought you could, if it doesn't have something, it would give back that.
I mean, we could easily just look for the first object in the dot maker.
Right. I mean, I just get. I'll really want to like look this up later, but we're so close to. I guess like that. Or we could give it empty object. So yeah, so then we'll have like cases and deaths and well, this could just be like that. So it's always going to have some kind of array. All right, so now we want to draw dots based on that, which is, or we generate the densities. Oh, wait. Sorry, I'm scrolling all over the place.
We
Shapes
do
of
have a lot
data.
of things going on in this notebook.
Yeah.
Well, so in generate density, instead of looking at metric, we'll just look at NYT dot cases killers to a number.
Yeah, that's I feel like these things are like all spread out in weird ways, and yeah, there's a lot of different things going on. So this would be feature.nyt. Well, if not feature.nyt.
Nothing. We outie.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to close your math.round.
Oh, I'm just, yeah. Do we return nothing, or do we return like an empty array? I think we return nothing.
Yeah, because
right?
then we won't even draw the outline, right?
Okay, is that too many points?
Yes. Yes.
So maybe bump people per dot or whatever up to like 10 in this case.
Yeah, I had taken it out. Cannot read property 0. No. Points. D dot points. Let's... Thought of points.
Points dot features.
I need one where it didn't have any points. I thought those were like it's saying that it doesn't have points, or points.features doesn't exist, I guess.
Yeah, now we're programming.
Did that change anything? Still. Not read property 0 of null. So this should never execute, though.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm getting unexpected.
So there's 258 shapes without points.
So sometimes it says undefined. Maybe it's somewhere in here. Oh, C0 cannot read property C0 of undefined. So why would... Alright, if not C...
There you go.
Wow, okay.
Fucking killer, bro. That's fucking interesting. That's a map right there. That's what, total cumulative cases as of July 20th?
I'm pretty sure it's 1 day.
Oh, that's one day of case? That's July 20th?
I think so.
No, this is the... I think this is cumulative. This is cumulative. Right? Didn't we just establish that this was cumulative?
Yeah, that seems
No,
like...
we thought it was, but then we looked at the documentation, and honestly, it's not as clear as it could be. Let me read it exactly what it says again. Oh, no, it's extremely clear. First sentence, I just didn't read it. We are providing 2 sets of data with cumulative counts of coronavirus cases and deaths.
There we go. So it is cumulative.
So in order to figure out that 7-day new cases, we not only have to calculate the number of new cases per day by like subtracting, but then also do the averaging.
But I can run the script on it now, right, Ian?
You should be able to get what you wanted, DJ, which is like an ever-reddening map.
Yes, that is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Ever-reddening map, please. And days and stuff should all work the same, basically. I don't have to set signal, right? I don't have to do any of the signal stuff, right?
No, everything by default should be right.
And then...
I mean, yeah.
And then there's no await signal of signals, right? I just
yeah,
do
get rid
every
of that.
day.
Because we're only mapping...
Let day of days. I redefine date to day, and then I take my screenshot from map. I name it. I don't need a signal map, because it doesn't matter. I don't... Oh, it does matter. No, the signals don't matter. I don't care about them, any of them ever. Okay. Make their output. Oh, one last thing that we're going to need to do is fix the canvas pixel density for Retina display, I believe. I'm going to put this...
Do you know how to...
I do know how to do it. I'm going to see if doing it on the Puppeteer side just fixes it for now, and I can do that later. But let's see what happens.
One thing I love about this map is that it is showing really dense counties, right? Densely packed counties. And the overwhelming feature to me is just how arbitrary they are. It's just like super straight line of really dark versus like I'm looking at Maricopa County, for instance, in Arizona, and it's super red. And then things around it are like less red. And then that's like really obvious that it's just an arbitrary county shape.
Right. Yeah, because a ton of people live there.
Mm-hmm. Like I hate counties as a metric for analysis because they are so arbitrary. But as you said in the beginning, Ian, so much data is like indexed by county that.
So a couple things going on that I would say that if we could fix. One is I very much miss having the date in the image somehow, because then I can know if it's working correctly. Number two is it's like twice as wide as it is tall in my capture, even though I did device scale factor 1. So I think we got some map height. You know what I mean? We might have that same issue we had last time where some things are map height and some things are map, or you know what I mean? So I'm going to look through and see if I can identify where that might be happening. Yeah, you do map width, map height. Oh, where is the projection defined? It should be right under here, right? Yeah, map width. That's weird. Oh, you scale by map width, but not by map height? No. Terrible idea. Because I'll show you what it looks like. It's like double wide. I'll drop it in the Keybase chat. See, it's got like a ton of white space to the right of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so somehow the width and height, like, show this everything. That's something with the width and height again, maybe.
Yeah,
or...
and I think it's part of the projection. You know what I mean? Because all the stuff in the map itself seems right to me. It's all map height, map width.
Oh, because we scaled it. I wonder if we do fit size. I think it's map.
No, it seems unhappy about that.
Oh, I have to give it something to fit the size.
Right.
That's what I did wrong last time. So I think it's shapes.
No.
What did we do?
We did like a state last time. Like we gave it like a feature. Or you could give it us.objects.us or whatever it is.
Right. But I feel like
us shapes dot objects dot nation. That's the one.
Can you paste that somewhere I can?
us shapes dot objects dot nation.
US. Where US dot shapes?
Yep. No, US capital S shapes.
Oh, okay.
Dot objects dot nation. Yep.
I think it has to be like topo JSON somehow.
Oh, topo JSON dot feature.
Oh, we have county shapes here, so maybe we can use that.
But I think fit size wants a single object to fit to, so that's why I'm trying to give it the US.
Okay, so you want the nation then. So we basically need to do what we did for county shapes and say like nation shape.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Where is... Why can't I see county shapes? Come on. So it's still a feature collection.
Oh, dot feature. Yeah. Yeah.
I somehow suspect though that like it should work. Hey,
There you go.
when you're right,
Fucking
man.
sick. All right.
I feel like a lot of these things we have at the top of the notebook could be.
Is it published again?
Yeah.
All right. I'm rerunning the script. Damn it! It's still super wide. Maybe I did it too early. I'm just gonna delete it.
What did you have?
I just reran it and it was still too wide.
Is it
Might
in
have
the
to do
same
something.
spot, like left aligned?
Yep.
I wonder if it's like a margin zero auto style thing, and it's just like in a really big puppeteer node.
Well, normally Puppeteer just goes to like whatever is on the screen. Like it doesn't normally capture a white space like that.
I think I changed something. Publish this. Can you try running it one more
Yeah,
time?
let me delete my old ones real quick. Give that a try. Nope. Still super wide. It is capturing though. The days don't look very different, at least for the first 2 weeks, I guess. I guess it is changing subtly. What's our start date?
I think it's 420.
That makes sense. Yeah, because that's like the earliest data that was available in CMU. What's the earliest data available in the New York Times data set?
January 20th.
Well,
something.
shit. We'll do 01, 01. See how that feels.
I don't think it's one. And you might want to try like 25, just so you don't get any like null errors.
25. And then we redefine date, start date. All right. I'm going to stop this capture and just make sure that that works.
Where are we? Like some of these things will be relevant again if you hook up
Is
the CMU data.
Is it still date that
you
determines the current date that we're on, right? It does, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, with this weird format.
I'm redefining it.
Oh.
And it doesn't
So
seem to be working.
Start date. Yeah, I think we need to make start date in the notebook also be the same. Is it 121?
I think 22.
Yeah, sure.
Let me publish this.
There we go. 181 days. Usually it renders an image by now, though. And it hasn't.
Oh, something went away.
Yeah, it seems unhappy. Oh, timeout on something. So what just changed? Because the script doesn't run anymore.
I didn't. You mean the visualization?
No, I mean like I'm not the puppeteer script won't capture anything anymore.
I changed the start underscore date.
Yeah, and right around that time it stopped being like it. I get a timeout error now, and I can't capture a single frame.
Oh, because it's still trying to. We should stop fetching data from CMU while we're using the New York Times data.
Yeah.
So that would help.
It'd be cool if since like observable it knows how these cells are connected.
Yeah.
If like you could like have like a comment out all dependent cells.
Yeah, get rid of this whole idea.
Oh, I like that. That would be really cool. Color scale. So there's still a signal map, which is weird because we're using a totally different data set. Extent. So our extent should be we should be going through the raw data, and then it should be d dot cases, I believe, right? Because every
Sure.
yeah. And why is our color scale only 3? So our signal map thing is.
I mean, we don't need it. We can just decouple entirely from that.
Yeah, I was just thinking I can make another thing here where it's for the thing, but I guess we can just ignore it for now. So, like the label, I don't know why the title doesn't even show up anyway.
Yeah,
So this
doesn't
is
matter.
cases. And color scale is going to be just directly at it, D3. So you like this, right?
Yep.
And I don't know how many
D3.
quantiles we want.
Yep.
3. Okay, I'm just gonna, I have all this stuff. Metrics, generate density. Stuff. Generate density dependent. So we just don't need metrics anymore. So we're almost there.
Yeah, somebody in chat's asking what we're doing right now.
Oh, good question.
This is sort of a continuation of the last few projects we've done, which is sort of visualizing data by county, except this time instead of doing by bubbles or county shape, we're filling a county with a bunch of different dots.
We don't know if this is a responsible way to do this. Sort of is, but it looks cool, and I feel like it's interesting to look at. I like and tab through all the dates, and you can see like, King County and Washington and stuff.
Yes, unfortunately we can't see anything right now because I broke something. I think the points are not defined, so probably something. Oh, this should be. Oh, and it's Hi, Brian. Brian's the somebody.
Yeah, sorry, Brian.
Who's been with us before. So we have a case number every time, but we're not getting the points. It looks like on any of these. So something is wrong with our shapes with data calculation where we're generating density not using metric anymore. It should be the New York Times. It has it, right? So nextdata.nyt. So where's our generate density? Feature.nyt.cases over people. It doesn't have feature.nyt.
Well, that's what then it's going to be null right there, right?
Yeah, that should, but they shouldn't be null. Is I guess the point. Turning undefined, even though they shouldn't be. And so maybe that we change. We're not using a scale. We're not projecting these points. The random point should still fall in there. It's supposed to be returning a thing. So if I log this again. Yeah, there's plenty of things that are giving us hits. So this should be okay. And I should also be able to test this if I say generate density on what is it called? Shapes with data 0.
So that generates fine.
Well, not fine. It's giving back an array of 0 things. So somewhere.
Well, this is our first date. That might be correct. Like, we'll change it to a date with a bunch of cases and see what happens, right?
Oh, I didn't know it was. Yeah, so I mean, somewhere in June is going to have a lot of cases. But I mean, nothing's showing up on the map, right? Like, there's certainly.
Yes, I think we can all agree that's bad.
Yeah. Where I'm trying to test generate density. Well, okay, but you're right. This time it did give back some points inside. So that shouldn't necessarily be the issue. Although so what did I do? I did the weird foo thing. So if it just doesn't have data for that county.
Yeah, because there are no county outlines now, which is, I guess, what feels so weird. But is that because we don't draw county outlines if there is no data?
Did we use metrics somewhere and we didn't realize
Probably.
it?
Yeah.
D.metric.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Hey, that's
what we're talking about. So to answer your question, Brian, this is what we've been trying to make.
Also, I feel like it got clearer for me because, so I think if you try, so I just published, you should try rendering it again. Style pixels. Is this?
Okay, so we are rendering, but however, all of the images I'm getting right now are blank, and it's still double wide. So. But I'm just going to let it keep rendering because it might be because the early days are not very many cases. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So, no, it is. So they're not blank, but it is double wide still. And this is really fucking cool, honestly. This is really cool, dude.
Nice.
Really interesting. Oh, I just want it to not be too wide. Okay, oh, so...
EJ, don't you think all election maps should look like this instead? I feel like it's...
Yeah, sure. So the question Brian's asking in the chat, what are the dots? Each dot is a case of COVID. So what we're trying to do is a time lapse to show sort of the expansion of cases in the U.S. And I'm just going to sort of scroll through them as a cheat. Let me jump ahead a little bit. But basically,
Wait, I actually think it's the number of cases divided by 10.
oh, good point.
Yeah.
But it is a visualization of the number of cases. Can we not divide it by 10 anymore? Or is that going to ruin everything?
You can change it with the slider, or we can do it. So I'm going to put in the text. Each dot represents, and then it's people.
Oh, nice.
Per point. People.
So how do we make it not super wide? That's what I want to
know. It might be. So I'm about to try. Oh, it did not like if I changed it to less than 10. It just took forever. What did it set to? 2. I think I'm gonna make the minimum value 5, and the maximum value, I don't know, 100 or something for now.
Okay.
Because like,
that's the maximum number of dots per. Oh, you're saying for the slider. Sorry.
It's like 100. Yeah. So like this. I don't know why this step is 2. Maybe step 5, I guess. Yeah, so this would like pare it down a bit if things kept going higher and higher and higher, right? But past a certain point, like New York, I guess, just is solid red.
Well, they have. That's the part. I can play around with the opacity, and you know what I mean. Like I think we can make ways to make it so that even as it gets filled up, there's still some apparent change to it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Help me fix my width problem.
Sorry, the width problem. Right. So let me set this as well. Just like setting all the widths and the heights I know how.
Yeah.
Which.
Because I'm trying to think of how that would have gotten knocked out of sync when we switched from SVG to Canvas, and it doesn't really make sense to me.
There's something weird about Canvas elements, and when you set their styled width or with an attribute.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if we try it again.
Yeah, I'm rerunning it.
Tell if it's the right way.
Still so wide. Still wide, buddy.
It's strange. I mean, and the width and height you're passing in on the script
are 1920 by 1080. And it gets out an image that is 1900 by 624.
So are you overriding the map height as well?
I do not believe that I am. I'm just setting the browser width and height. Do you want me to overwrite the map width and height?
Yeah. I believe that's also what you want in this case.
Okie dokes.
I'm using that to determine the canvas element, and it might be that the div or whatever the canvas element is sitting inside the cell, like.
Oh, I think that you were right, and that fixed it. Let me just double check. Let it render a few more, but I think that was it.
I'd love to try the moving average one version, because I feel like that would give.
What's the default pixels per person? Because it's taken forever to get stuff to show up on here.
I believe the default is 10.
Okay. All right. It takes like what? It takes like 60 days for anything to show up.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting from January.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Oh, I guess.
Yeah.
January.
I mean,
okay, that is how.
The first Washington outbreak was like.
Well, then put it back to 1 dot per person. I guess after this we can try that.
Yeah, you can overwrite that value in your script just the same way that you overdid
Yeah. You're totally right about that. So what's its name again?
People per point, where per and point are capitalized.
People per point. people per point. 1. Great. And then it's bouncing 181 days. Very interesting. Yeah, this is going to make a really interesting time lapse. Oh, damn it. We didn't put the days on it.
Yeah, we can still add, that. So, I mean, to do that, we just look at, save mode open. This one, and when we render the map, we render some text. So, well, we could just render the normal date. Like we know what that is. So there should be a way in Canvas that you just ctx dot, I think, fill text. Is that? No, it's a text. Let's try that. So I'm going to say at about 50 pixels and map height minus 100. I think it's XY text. Maybe it's text XY. We'll have to figure it out. Normal dates. Is it fill text? I think so.
Yep. I think you're right about that.
I'm not seeing any text.
Well, just don't do map height minus, just do like width divided by 2 and 10.
Oh, like 100.
Yeah, like 100.
I think the text comes first, honestly.
Oh, also Brian is asking in chat who our guest is today. And we have Jeremiah Kimmelman joining us. He's my former colleague from NBC News, now living in Sacramento and tending to a garden. And what else, Jeremiah? What else do you do?
Fill my time making weird maps with you and getting too angry about election maps.
Right, all right. Yeah, we mostly spend our time getting angry about election maps now.
Yeah.
All right, so this render's almost done. And then I can make an MP4, and then I can tweet it out.
Stroke text. Wow, this is a crazy way of doing that. Dot font equals this.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Even for Canvas, that's like a little bit much.
All right, here's the moment of truth. I have a 15-second long video here. I'm really excited to watch.
That's it.
Let me make it as big as my viewing area. All right.
So what kind of script are you using to pull all that images down?
We did an episode with Alex Garcia, who wrote this really cool tool framework library called Observable Pre-Render, and basically it uses Puppeteer to capture any cell you want from a notebook. So it just loops through all of the days and captures a PNG for each day and then puts them into a folder, and then we use an FFmpeg script to tie them all together for good and evil. So I'm going to see what this dot density time lapse looks like. Cool, you sort of see the outlines of the counties fill. Oh, holy shit. It's kind of terrifying looking.
Yeah, I mean, we're using red, so I feel like we were going for terrifying.
I think so. We did it with, this is 10, I'll say cases per 10 per dot. That makes sense. Yep. And then I'll make a new one. Hey, did you add the title situation?
I have a date sort of showing up. I don't know.
How do you
I'm happy
text
with it
anchor
yet.
that to the middle or what?
Yeah, I need to figure out how big this is or something. I can just hack it.
We'll make it in there.
So I have it in the middle minus, I don't know.
I'm going to poke around.
30.
Yeah, so you can nudge that around. I don't know if the font size is too big and how it's going to look when it's rendered on a bigger one.
It's fine. Can we do?
That dot density technique was, I mean, Aaron did a good job in his notebook, but it makes conceptual sense. It was not very challenging to implement. I've never done it before.
No, pretty cool.
But,
well, I think the challenging part is kind of hidden from us because it's really like Canvas is doing the heavy lifting, I feel like.
I mean, I also feel like Turf is doing some heavy lifting with
good point. With filling a polygon with shit. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's certainly like, I think it's also one of those things where it's easy in hindsight because this, I have to imagine that if I was figuring this out originally, right, like this would be some,
right,
take
totally.
some thinking and like, the idea of doing it to generate the points in a bounding box and then check if they're inside the actual polygon and then keep going is, I think really elegant and but yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's like now, and it's written nicely. It's like fairly straightforward to understand, and here we are. We can make dots.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm gonna try and take this technique and maybe use the MIT data set, election data set, because I wonder how well this will work if we're mixing two colors. Because one thing I want to get across is that these elections are super close, but I think when most people look at an election map, they kind of want to know who won. So those are different maps, but
yeah, I mean, it would certainly be interesting to try this on a election data set, right, where you have multiple, the two colors, or
yeah. So, I mean, especially after I think this guy on Twitter, Cardo Nerd or something like that, Keith Field, who works for Esri, did a map like that after 2018. And what's cool about it is that there's lots of red and lots of blue and equal-ish numbers. But all this middle part of the country where no one lives, you can see the spokes, the hubs and spokes of the city outline. Yep. It's just nice to see how much white because election maps don't really account for empty space ever. That's not their thing. So I want to see this movie.
Didn't the New York Times also do a dot density map for the Democratic primary?
No, they did it for 2016. They did a dot for every vote.
Yeah. Okay. After the fact, right?
It takes later. A long, more than a week. It takes a long time to do that.
Yeah.
I'm rendering right now a version that does one dot per case, and it's really powerful. You know what I mean? The county I'm from is full up now, and it sort of makes the explosion a little more profound.
Are you zoomed in on New York, or how do you see it?
No, I can just pick it out. It looks like a wolf's head.
So if we
can we do this? Can we? Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we do another cell that's zoomed into New York that captures at the same time? And then I can remember that. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I really want to try the moving average because I really want to see it pulse.
Yes.
I mean, that's what we had kind of gotten that from the heat map with your COVID cast data set, right? Because it's showing new cases per scale to population. But what we said that wouldn't make sense with the dots when we're previously.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I mean, because I think it would be most effective to do what you're talking about, using a rolling day average, 7 days, let's say, because then you would see the ebb and flow a little bit more. Right now, obviously the major metro in the Northeast, in this map right now on June 26th, it's just super red. it's only going to get more red, right? Because this map is like additive because it's cumulative.
So let me double check something, because the CMU API may do 7-day trend for us. And the reason I think that is because it has a 7-day trend button for, what are we looking at? Cases? Oh, it doesn't have 7-day trend for cases. What does it have it for? Oh, doctor visits. Nothing that is totally useful, huh? Oh, it has a 7-day trend for hospital admissions, but not cases. Well, never mind then. I guess you could do it for hospital admissions.
Here, I want to try and make another cell in our notebook and just try and like do that data part from NYT. Because I feel like.
You mean calculating the running thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So, and then I can, sorry, while you're doing that, I can also make another, one zoomed into New York is my idea now.
Awesome.
Okay. Where does the NY data, where does the times data enter our NYT counties? Is
It's
that
like
right?
an import at the bottom.
Shapes with data is the data set, like that's where we collect everything. So that's maybe what you want.
Brian says Carbon Heath has released some really amazing data sets for COVID. So let me look. Carbon Heath. I guess I should add COVID data.
This shapes. Okay, we have
here we go.
state shapes.
Oh, interesting. This is like per test data. That's crazy. So it has, okay, this is pretty wild. This carbon health data has the date, it has the test type, it has the test result, it has whether the person has cancer, asthma, autoimmune disease, whether they're a smoker, what their pulse was, whether they have a fever, whether they had fatigue or loss of smell. And it's just like 1,500 lines of like individual tests with all that data. That's really crazy.
But where are they?
That's the problem. It doesn't help us because none of it's not geographic at all, as far as I can tell. It's just like tests as their own row. But it's definitely really interesting. I'll drop a link in the chat.
So I haven't used a JavaScript map before. How do you so that gets returned by d3.group now, right? And then how do you iterate over that and return a new map on map?
You can do array.from, which will turn it into an array. And I think it returns you back a little array that's 2 elements, the key and the value.
Cool. Okay, cool.
So EJ, I got states kind of going,
Sick.
but the zoom doesn't seem like it totally fits. You know, it's like a little too zoomed in
It's
each time.
good for me, bro. I love it. What are the cell
Yeah, I
names?
gotta zoom out some. I mean, I just replaced the current one, so let me fix that. So you want, um,
Give me 3.
well, I
I
guess I
will
should
give me
have
4.
history.
Sorry about all these requests.
Mm-hmm.
If I could have a New York, Texas, California, and Florida cell and get all those at the same time, that'd be fucking cool.
Yes, it would be. So make map, say zoom shape, and then all right. So that's New York, get states, New York. I mean, to me, this is like when observable also kind of starts to shine. You just like slowly figure it out until you get it down, and now we're at a point where we can just like pump out these
Totally. So I'm gonna
visualizations.
screenshot the map cell, or is there still a map cell, or should I get rid of that?
Yeah, its map is the
Okay,
whole
and then I'm gonna
country.
screenshot the NY cell, which is called NY.
Yeah, lowercase
Okay, and
ny.
I'm gonna screenshot. Whoops, excuse me, Jesus. I'm gonna screenshot the Florida cell.
Hey guys, I have to jump off for like 20 minutes or so.
It's all good.
But
We got like 8 minutes left, I think, so we're gonna wrap up soon anyway. But
okay, cool.
thank you for hanging
Yeah,
out. Like, super appreciate you bringing this
yeah,
data
this was
set and
fun.
hanging out with us. So
Cool
Definitely,
map. I'm
man.
excited to see it on Twitter.
yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it again soon, man. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks for listening.
Peace out.
Later. Sorry, you wanted New York, Florida, California, and Arizona, I think.
Nope, Texas.
So California and Texas.
Yep.
Okay.
CA. Florida and Texas.
Yeah. All right. And then I think I'm going to make my map function filter out things that are not part of that state, right?
I mean, no, why?
Let's, well, you'll see when you look at the notebook.
No, see, normally people do this a lot. Like, I think that seeing it around it is just as, like, it is a geographic thing. So while we're looking at that state, if there's a huge outbreak on the New Mexico county, that borders it, I think that's interesting, worth visualizing, right?
You make an excellent point. So what if I make the state boundary, um, what if I render the state boundary?
Yes, I love that idea.
And I'll render it sort of like a little thicker and darker than the
You're having a really interesting
counties.
idea. Just get rid of the county outline and only render the state outline and fill the counties with dots. That will look cool, I bet.
I look forward to trying. All right, got myself a state outline.
Nice. So it's whatever the active state is gets a black outline.
Yes.
That's looking awesome, bro.
Or the whole U.S. But yeah. Okay, so this shows me that my zoom actually is kind of all right. I could give it a little breathing room, I feel. Oops.
All right, so this is the moment of truth. I'm gonna try running the script and capturing 4 cells at once. Let's see how it goes.
All right, let me publish though.
Oh shit! Oh. Okay. All right.
Because I think this is, yeah. This is
Okay, so
looking-
now I'm running it.
Although the date on New York is going to be kind of.
Whatever. You know what? As long as it's there, like.
Okay.
All right, so I don't know. It still hasn't rendered anything, which makes me a little bit nervous. Yeah, I think this might not be working the way that I want. I'm just going to stop trying to render all 4 at once and just render 1, see if that works.
Seems appropriate.
Right. Yes, so that does work. We get a cases with a nice, great work on that. That's looking awesome. But if we try and let's add 1 state just to give it a try. Okay, cases. Okay, I don't think that pre-render works with the function return the way you've done it for the states. I think that it needs to be a view of the same way it is for the other map.
It's strange though, because it should just be returning a dot. It's not actually a view of in the first place. So wait, so
I'm
you
getting
can't
a
run it for
timeout
one map?
error. So when I run it, I screenshot map, that works great, and then I try and screenshot the cell NY, and then I get a timeout on that.
All right, and if you only try to screenshot NY,
Oh, great.
you get a time.
I don't know. Let me see. Oh God. It appears that it is going to time out without rendering anything.
And so you're doing n like lowercase ny. That's
Yep.
it, right? So maybe it doesn't like the get states. What am I to do get states?
I legit think that it's because it's a function and not whatever this is.
Yeah, but map is also a function. I think it might be the
you're right.
state.
It is. You think it's get state?
Yeah, I think that could be it. Let's see. Trying to think of how I could make that, because get state is filtering the state shapes, but we're already using US shapes, which state shapes is based off of. I don't understand how it, like, unless there was something missing. Should return that feature. All right, let me try this. Instead of passing in, so for New York, I'm going to have a separate cell right below that's New York State. All right, can you try to filter in New York?
What do you mean filter New York?
I mean, sorry, screenshot just New York.
Oh yeah, give me 1 second.
I just published to try to get that changed.
All right, so it is running, and we should see one soon, or it's probably broken. And I don't see one, so I bet it's gonna time out.
It's so strange. I mean,
What could be the difference?
I could just copy.
Yeah, just copy paste. I believe in you.
All right, we'll try it for New York. And zoom shape is going to be get state. All right, publishing, try New
All
York
right,
again.
so now I'm capturing both cases and cases New York. Waiting for it to run. Nothing, man. Let me take New York out and see if it just works on cases. Yeah, so it works on cases. I'm generating a whole bunch of those now. So let me delete those.
So it must.
I'm gonna add New York
It must
back.
really.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't want to do multiple cells at once.
Yeah, see if you can just not do multiple cells. So you're doing New York and not.
Oh yeah, well yeah, let me
No.
do, yeah, exactly. Let me try New York and not cases. Oh, it seems like that's not working. What is the difference?
Well, it's using get state, so it's calculating the bounds based on that. But I could.
Yeah, because this
All right,
hasn't.
let me try. I'm gonna publish one more time. Try getting New York again.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
publish.
running now.
So now I'm zooming to the country, but I'm still drawing the New York State. And then if that doesn't work, I'm gonna comment out.
No, it doesn't seem like this is working.
All right, so let me just get rid of get state being used and see if it renders. Because now it should be functionally exactly the same as map.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what the people want. All right, so I'm just capturing New York now?
Yeah, still capturing NY, but it should render the whole
Okay.
thing. So you're making sure the cell is in the array when you do the await load part of your script,
I
right?
do await notebook screenshot NY, which is the same way it worked with map. Because there was no other checking if map was ready either.
Oh, no, but there should be something above on line like 21. There's just an array that has map in it. I think you need to give it.
Oh my
other stuff.
goodness. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I bet you're right. So I make it NY, and then I bet this works. I'm so sorry, Ian.
I forgive you.
Oh man, if this works. Yeah, god damn it. Okay, so
All right, so let me turn it back to New
now we
York.
know.
So try.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and now it'll probably render multiple cells at once also.
And we're doing
I
CA,
mean, it's all good. We're like, that's pretty good.
CA, Texas, and Florida. So we were like so on a roll and before this 10-minute diversion, but this is fucking sick. So basically, we're gonna generate at the same time 5 time lapses of cases as dots, 1 dot per COVID case for the entire United States with this one command. And I agree with Brian in the chat, who says it's kind of cool how you see the natural boundaries more than the political boundary. And I like that a lot too. Except in these beginning ones when you don't really see anything. This is probably going to take a while to capture, huh? So.
Yeah, so one thing that Brian points out in the chat is kind of cool. You see the natural
I just
boundaries
said
instead of the
that.
political ones, right? Oh shit. I was just spaced out, man. Damn.
But yes, I agree. No, he's
I'm like,
totally right.
I'm lagging with the stream. Yeah, he's totally right. So I guess we great minds think alike. Congratulations, EJ, myself, and Brian for all liking. Yeah, how, saying things is a good idea. So
And we're about 5 minutes over. I'm feeling in the groove.
I
Like I want to get this video rendered before we sign off, I think.
I know, and I feel like there's a couple little things we could still play with now that we're at this point, um, and we should just talk about that for a second, right?
Totally.
Because are there any choices or iterations we want to make? Like you mentioned, not drawing the county boundaries at all. We could
Yeah,
give that
I
a
want to try
shot.
that out.
Um, so that would be in the make map, and so yours is running, but this won't interfere with that, right? When we
Yeah, I think we found out that you can
mess
edit
around
it
with
while
this.
it's rendering and it's fine.
All right, so basically this line here renders the county paths. So getting rid of that, it gives like a county patchwork, but that is interesting. I do.
I like that a lot.
I feel the gift. You like
Yeah, I'm
this?
way into that.
I do think that the I do think that this will look really interesting in the animation too. I'm gonna make a variable that's like show county lines equals to false by default. And then we'll do if show county lines. The people per person is a slider. I can move it up. I'm also going to make this more recent. Things get pretty red later on.
Yep.
So I'll leave that code open. So rolling averages. I wonder if he finished this. Oh, it looks like this is grouped by county. I'm going to take a liberty of turning it into a FIPS code.
I think that's totally fair.
So I think what was happening here is that the values, so we get a map, or okay, turn it into an array by county coerced. He's mapping over these values of the things. I kind of want to turn it, or want it to still be a map somehow. I wonder if I think we might even be able to do this. V is I'm going to try something wrong. I'm gonna make that an object. Alright, this is not exactly what I was hoping for. Oh no, it's array from. So I don't think I want an array from. Well, I'm gonna copy this and then not stop messing with Jeremiah's code. But I guess what I was, this is where he had it. Oops. Yeah. I kind of want to play with the average idea a lot. I think it'd be really interesting to get that kicked off and animating overnight as well.
I agree.
The other possibility. So you said it takes a while to do it, right?
Yeah, although we're capturing 5 at once, and we're on day 90 right now.
So that's not that long after all.
Yeah, it's not bad.
The other thing I had it in mind to do, and I just didn't get around to it yet, is that I think we could use async to capture more, like just, you know, do more requests at once in your script instead of having to wait for every day. Just like do them 10 days at a time.
Oh, that's wild.
And your computer would probably handle it pretty easily.
Yeah.
So maybe it's worth. So I don't know if Jeremiah even can come back. I don't know if we want to do that or if he wants to, but I could also spend a few minutes showing you what I'm talking about. I believe I cloned your gist that you sent me earlier today. I can clone this.
Are you going to sort of refactor the screenshot taker?
Yeah. Let's say. Oops. Why did that do? Okay, clone. I need the clone link. And then this is. I think it'd be really fast. So I'm familiar with a library called, I guess we have to npm install.
I don't think I gave you a package JSON, even though you were so nice to give me one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can, let me give you, I'll put it, I'll do it. Because you did do all the kindness of putting it in your gist. I don't know why I felt I could get away with just not including it in mine.
I'm not sure either.
I just didn't think of it. I didn't remember, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
How do I add a new file to a gist?
I think you have to edit the gist and then click.
Add file, package JSON. JSON. And here we go. Go, Jesus.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really satisfying too, because if you can generate these animations in like a minute or something.
Yeah, that's pretty rad.
Yeah. And I guess you update the script.
Right, yeah, you can git pull if you want.
I think I have to fork so I can clone it locally.
I don't think that's true.
And push. Well, no, so that I can push up.
Oh.
Although,
yeah, I guess so.
Are you sure?
What? Make sure what?
Oh, I see the file now. Oh, but my fork needs to like. How do I pull in your changes?
Git pull. Go to the command line and write git pull. You silly.
No, but I'm not pulling yours. I'm pulling from mine, which didn't pull your stuff.
Oh, you already forked it.
Because I can't pull to your, like, anyway, I'll just clone yours. EJ map. Because I want to make, like, basically a small change and then suggest it
Yes.
to you, right?
What are you doing anyway? Oh, you're just trying to do 10 at once?
10 or more. Yeah, like, make it so that you can, like, run them in parallel. Because I
You're
think
trying to
it's...
supercharge the capture process.
Oh, Brian's asking a question in the chat, too. Let me... Yes. So basically,
So the question is, the script you're running takes a cell with some parameter and varies the parameter to make a GIF, and that's exactly right. And that's the script that Ian is editing now. So basically we have the observable notebook, which is responsible for the visualization, and then this script, which runs a Puppeteer instance, which is basically like a headless Chrome, and it pulls in the observable notebook, takes a screenshot of whatever cell we want, and exports it as a file. And so I'm running that script right now, and you see I have like cases Florida for day 7, cases Florida for day 100, whatever, and I'm just gonna build this huge folder of photos per day, and then using FFmpeg sort of stitch them together into the time lapse that we've been making.
wait, but this one I just cloned from doesn't have the 4 cells. It's just...
Oh, that's because I didn't update. I'm so sorry. Let me update Alex 4, and then you'll be good.
Okay. Yeah, because I want to make sure I'm editing like just the same one.
All right, so you now have update public gist. You now have all my latest changes. Yeah, what are you going to use this for, Brian?
Nice. Okay, perfect. Let me remember. Wait, so...
Yeah, so what are you doing over there? What the fuck
this
is
will run
that?
it.
What the fuck is async each limit?
So async.
Async?
Yeah, well, async without the H is a reserved keyword now.
Okay.
Which it wasn't back when this library was made. And there's probably a more elegant way to do this, but this is the most straightforward way I know, and I just need to remember the what do you call it, like the API, because I think when you do each limit, you can tell it how many, like a maximum number of threads you want. So you give it the thing, the limit, the function you want to use, like this is array, the limit, the function you want to use, and then when it's all done. So
Sick.
we are going to
Magical.
do, let's say, 10 at a time.
Love it.
And I'm also going to slice the first 10 days, so I should just do, or I guess 0 to 10.
Yeah.
Oops, I'm going to comment this.
So Brian says he's made a generative thing that has a parameter that he lets people scroll through, and he's going to make a GIF. And that's like exactly, that's it. That's what it's for, man. Making cool-ass GIFs.
Yep. Let's see. This is a single. So I think. No, we just don't want that one anymore. So, and function. I think this will work. I think, let's try it. So, only allowed an async function. Async.
Honestly, I think the zoomed in versions are really interesting because like you have sorry, you just have more pixels to work with. You know what I mean? So like as you fill up over time, it's you just get like a higher resolution at what that means. Because
Wait, I didn't make the doc. I have to have a directory.
yeah, I'm sorry, you got to
Sorry.
make dir output 10.
Output
Yes,
10.
sir.
That's a particular folder name.
Well, that's because I've made 9 of these movies so far tonight, so we're at 10.
Fair enough. Okay, so what I'm hoping to see, yeah, is it does all of these. Didn't put them anywhere.
You gotta up. Well,
Oh, well, also Daynum isn't exactly right.
oh, because it's
I
not.
think.
You're not daynum plus plusing. It's yeah, because it's all asynchronous and weird.
Yeah. Daynum equals days.index of day. I think that will work. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if this await and the async thing I'm doing is exactly. I'm mixing up two different
Well, you're asyncing
things
inside your
here.
async, which seems strange to me.
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing it right. So, but let's see. So at least it's saying rendering all those things, but I think it's quitting before it's actually done. Like, this shouldn't have to be async. I need to learn my JavaScript async stuff. I thought this would be like super straightforward, but I forgot that this is synchronous awaits. This whole thing, async function main. I want to loop. I mean, yeah, this is too bad.
It's cool, man. I'm about to be done.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be able to render our videos soon. I'm at day 140 of 180, and then I think we can talk through what we did tonight because we went through a whole bunch. You know what I mean? And then look at these videos and sign off probably because it's getting late over here on the East Coast.
Feel like, man. Yeah. I think I do then call back. I'm more confused than I started when I tried to read this. I thought I could figure it out quick. So, all right. Well, I suppose we are in a good spot when you finish rendering anyway. It does.
It's starting to, honestly, it's really looking cool now. Like California looks crazy. And you sort of see how it like draws out from like the major airports, in my opinion, the major cities in California. Yeah, I mean, like it really is geographic.
Yeah.
So what have you learned about async? What are you doing over there?
Unhandled promise rejection. Okay, I'm not sure I learned anything yet. Catch block. Promise not. What if I... So I'm trying to basically, I was putting all of these calls into a promise.all, which I think will like do the same thing as all the awaits we're
Got
doing,
it.
right? It's like just do all these things, and then I can say then do this. It almost got somewhere. But target close. I don't know if you can actually run. Maybe you just can't run 10 puppeteers at once.
Man, do you think that might be pushing it?
Yeah, so that's a question
Maybe you
for
can't.
another day.
I'm on
This also, you
149
could,
of 180 right now.
right. The other thing you could get into is like a makefile version, right? Where it's just like, it's going to pass in the day, or like the day number or whatever, right? Because like we're just iterating over days. Right. So it's going to run the whole command for every day all at once and just see if it, yeah, but that doesn't seem safe. Yeah. The only thing I can... Let me also just see if I'm... Wait. Why was there an extra thing here? That's surprising me.
It's the 408.
Oh, I need to call day CP. So it's still called complete. How come that worked? All right, and then if I wonder what happens here. So it doesn't like whatever I did in promise all. And maybe I'm not understanding. Oh, I have to set a new timeout or a new... All right, so that didn't blow up. Why? What did it say? It never said done with... I'm doing that. It's going to await on the promise. Yield?
What is yield? Yield until the callback? What kind of nonsense dark magic are you doing?
I don't know, man. I'm just like desperate right now. I figure I have until the last few of your things.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
To get this working.
Totally fair.
But this is what's... I mean...
We're at 157 out of 180. It doesn't really move that quickly, which is the problem that you're solving. Isn't that ironic? The thing that you're trying to solve is the thing that's giving you enough time to solve it.
Yeah, what I think I'm also...
You just said yeah, but I think it's interesting.
Day and day CB.
Well, you figure that. I'm gonna look at some of the renders that have been coming through because I think they're super sick. Oh, we got. Oh, nope. Jeremiah's not here anymore. This is like what Texas looks like on June 27th, and I really like how when you've like zoomed in a little bit, we're basically giving 1 pixel for every COVID case, and for some of these big counties, it's like basically all filled in. But for some of the small ones, you can like sort of see where the population is in addition to the cases. So there's Texas. Let's look at a big one of Florida.
Oh, I'm like, okay, I think I was doing something weird.
Let's see what else. Look at California. Yeah, wow. The California one is interesting because you get a bunch of other states in it too. So you get to see it sort of grow. Wow, but San Francisco is just OD. It's just so many cases packed into such a small space, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And it's in the span of like 2 weeks. So it's day 55, it's almost nothing. Yeah, and like 75, 20 days later, by April, it's like out of control. Wow. This is such a crazy thing that we're living through right now.
Yeah.
I sent a time lapse of it to my dad, and he's like, "It looks like a petri dish, you know." And it's like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what it is. Exactly what it looks like. Yeah, so this is 1 dot for every COVID case. That's California. What else we got? Oh, this is just the total U.S. map. Wow. So this is what, July 2nd. Same deal, 1 dot for every COVID case. Wow. All right, we're at 163 out of 181, and then we can start generating our time lapses. You got 20 more days left.
Nice. 20 more days to figure out async, old school async with new school async. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so Brian says that we could do cases relative to the population, and we actually have that data set and like chose to not do that just so that we could, in service of the concept of 1 dot per case, because we do have from our other notebook, we have CMU has cases per 100,000, so that's like a rate that you could use to visualize, but then you lose the whole unit chart concept. You know what I mean? Like that, it's hard for me to square in my mind if every dot is supposed to represent something. What does every dot represent if you're doing per 100,000? But now that I've said that out loud, it's kind of similar to what like we already did, which is that we said like 1 dot represents 10 people or 100 people, and we're just sort of saying one. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of math involved to get that, to do that right. And honestly, just like the cognitive overhead of explaining that, like something about, to me, about, it's the same thing of like 1 dot for every vote, right? Like 1 dot for every vote makes sense in my head, and 1 dot for every COVID case makes sense. But I think if you even, part of the reason I didn't want to do one dot for every 10 cases, is that like that's just a another step in terms of like you could explain to a child one dot for every case and they'd get it, I think. How's it going over there? I see you're looking at puppeteer documentation.
Yeah, it looks like, somebody's made a cluster thing, so it would take a little more thinking than I'm ready
Oh,
to
it's
do.
like super fancy to do. So you're saying in order to do multiple headless ones at the same time, that you have to like, it's not just built into Puppeteer. You don't just get to spawn a bunch of them.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that might be a task for another time. And then yeah, I think next time we can also approach I think the average. I'm still really interested in the average thing. I think
Yeah,
it'd be nice to do it with
because
Jeremiah though.
that'll be a pulsing sort of visualization, sort of like the other stuff that we've been making.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'll see a flare up in New York, and then you'll see it sort of die out, and you'll see a flare up in Miami and California, and then a flare up in the South. Whereas now it's sort of, excuse me, it's sort of cumulative. Like you see it build, but you don't get to see what is spiking at any particular moment, right?
Yeah.
This is still a crazy map, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also it's cool is like it shouldn't be too much harder to adapt this to like a voting data set like Jeremiah 1 and 2.
Totally. Or any other.
Another one, yeah, I mean the unemployment stuff would also be like a crazy animation, right?
Yep.
I don't know if BLS has how recent the county unemployment monthly and annual. August 21st for July. I wish they had a finer granularity than month, but what would be interesting too is like not unemployment necessarily, but also like there's a map that like truck drivers are the most common job in a lot of states.
Yeah, job sounds
But
interesting.
like so actually
So wait, what's the parameter of the data we can use? Basically, any percentage is good.
well, I was thinking it even counts, right? Like if we're
Oh yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah.
about the
One
number of
per
people
thing.
working, one per person. It's like yeah, so one job is a person doing that job.
All right, we're at 173 out of 181. So we're closing in.
I said this was an economic or interactive chart.
Oh, don't trust them. They don't. I don't think they even know what interactive means.
News release charts. Oh, it's interactive.
Oh boy.
Percent changes by state. I wonder by county.
This is a whole project of how to use the census table reader thing. Didn't our good friend Bostock make a thing on using the API?
But this isn't census. This is
BLS.
BLS, which is even more fun. But I don't want the reports. I want the underlying data sets. Are you serious? They don't have JavaScript
They have Unix
code.
command line.
Oh.
Google like npm BLS API. All right, we're closing in on the finish line. 177 out of 181. This did take a while, I want to say.
Yeah, the animation part.
No, just downloading 5 cells per notebook per day.
Yeah, I mean, you see why I wanted to have it be parallelized.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, bro.
I'm starting a new notebook just to play with this BLS. It looks like I can just
Damn, bro, they suspended Talib Kweli from Twitter forever.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd he do?
No, apparently he's being a dick. He launched a harassment campaign against a woman. It's not a good way to hang out.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
Okay, it's called BLS2.
All right, one more day. One more day. There we go. All right, so I got my command. Let me just update it for my many different types of cases. Oops.
Still an invalid module. Oh, it says only this way will work. Okay, let's work it out.
So right now I'm just building the most perfect ffmpeg command you've ever seen. And then I'm going to run him. And I'm going to run him.
I need an API key and I need to know.
I bet you I already have a BLS API key somewhere.
So then how do I know which
right, I fucking did it. Render. Oh my god, it's happening. It's pretty exciting. So basically, we're rendering... Oh, good night, Brian. Thanks for hanging out.
Good night.
Basically, we're rendering 5 movies. One is a time lapse of every day, 1 dot for every COVID case for the entire United States. 1 time lapse of zoomed into New York, 1 zoomed into California, 1 zoomed into Florida, and 1 zoomed into Texas. It's pretty fucking sick. And then I think I might tweet them all out individually, and then say goodnight. I think that's the plan.
I think it's a good plan indeed.
All right. Pretty crazy. Okay, I'll say 1 dot per COVID case. Data. Cases. Worst cases, New York. There's a video. Damn, that's wild.
Nice.
So I'm just going to make one of these for every state that we just made.
Of course, they probably don't allow course.
Who doesn't?
Yep.
All right, man. I just tweeted 4 videos at once. I guess Twitter's okay with that sort of behavior.
Nice. Where are you at?
Once again, we had like an exceptional night streaming. Like I can't say it enough. Every single time we do this, we make something that I'm really proud of, and I think that looks really cool. So I'm really grateful for your time and that we get to keep doing this and that people keep watching.
I'm with you, man. It's pretty awesome to see.
Do you want to do a quick little recap? We got like 10 minutes left. We can sort of talk. I'll start. I'll kick it off, and then you can talk about all the cool stuff that you did. So let's see. Starting from the top, thank you to Jeremiah for joining us tonight. It's always awesome to have a guest, and Jeremiah, I'm hoping will keep returning for more of these streams. But basically, he came to us with this really cool dot density observable notebook that Aaron Williams, who worked for the Washington Post, created, which basically is this concept of showing population density with a different color for every race. And so this inspired us because we've already been working with this sort of county level COVID data for the last few nights. We made a bubble layout with it. We made some choropleth maps with it. We thought, why not try and apply that concept to this COVID county level data? And then Ian, do you want to talk a little bit about what you did for that?
Yeah, so I guess we took our original, or not original, but like the last stream's bubble map, right? And then forked it to make a canvas version. And that was just because we knew, like, okay, we're going to want to render a ton of dots. We had an SVG map. Let's turn it into canvas so we can render more things quickly. And then we forked that. Once we got that working, that was like a small process. A common thing that happens though is, and I'll open this, I guess, since I'm talking about it, where you go from, SVG works nice and it's interactive, to switching the code over to Canvas. And yeah, so we went over that. And then once we got that working, we forked that into the map you see before you, which is, what we set out to do, this dot density. And, we iterated on the several design decisions, I guess, throughout, right? Had a lot of discussion about when it's, like, what we're showing when we're showing things like this. Like, so the idea of sticking to one dot per case, or essentially per person, right? And just being really literal with that. And then, although this is showing 10 dots, or 10 people per dot, your animation is set at
exactly.
1 person per dot. Yeah. So I guess kind of like being able to do that, like, we learned a lot from Aaron's notebook to get that working over here, iterated on the styles and the... At first, we were using a different data set too, so like being able to go in.
Yeah, that was crazy how quickly you guys switched out the data set for one for another. That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and that speaks to sort of the power of observable. Like, just went and found. I was like, search for COVID and observable or COVID map. I'm gonna do it again because I think, it's good to know about too. It's like I took from Jeremy, who I know is experienced in mapping and news visualization and stuff, yep. Right? And so I figured I could trust that as a starting point, but there's many others where people have explored I think especially the New York Times data set. So yeah, that was cool. And then I think the final thing that was a nice touch was being able to quickly render out each state individually, or I guess it was zoomed into the state, and we render the border. Yep. Of the state, and we don't render the county borders.
I think
anymore.
It looks awesome.
Like, that was another
personally
iteration. Yeah. So definitely super productive stream and very interesting.
Yep.
And yeah, you rendering them out on the server. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do that.
We gotta
faster.
make it so we can render them out quicker. But that is for another stream. Thank you to everybody for watching and hanging out and joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Good night.